Chapter 1588. Mr. Yang, it's great that you can understand. Zhang Liebao said happily, you can rest assured. I will do Mr. Sun Kuan's transfer formalities for you. I will do it immediately. Zhang Yuliang, why don't you go and give Mr. Sun Kuan a certificate? Of course, the certificate will be issued. But before that, I still want to remind you. Yang Ming said, although I don't know what other taxi companies are like, do they also have so many problems, forcing drivers to sign contracts with violence? But judging from the fact that Brother Kuan wants to transfer companies, I am afraid that other companies are definitely not like this. When Zhang Liebao heard Yang Ming's words, the sweat on his forehead immediately fell. Mr. Yang, don't say it first. Yang Ming waved his hand. Let bygones be bygones. I don't want to pursue it. But from now on, I hope you don't do these crooked practices anymore. What's wrong with doing business properly? Build a reputation, and I believe that these taxi drivers will not leave. You should have a long-term vision in everything you do, and not care about momentary benefits. Yes, what Mr. Yang said is right. I will correct it in the future. Zhang Liebao didn't expect Yang Ming to say these words to him. He was stunned for a moment, and then quickly agreed. Yang Ming saw that Zhang Liebao agreed quickly, and he knew that Zhang Liebao was probably perfunctory. It was hard to say whether Zhang Liebao really listened, so he smiled and said, of course, you cannot listen to me. But after a while, I will inquire about it. If it is still like this, then I don't mind suggesting Brother Bao to enter the taxi industry and open a taxi company to compete with you. At that time, it is not up to you to decide whether you want to let them go or not. After Zhang Liebao heard Yang Ming's words, his heart suddenly trembled. Yang Ming's last sentence was what worried Zhang Liebao the most. As Yang Ming said, if Bao Sanli also entered the taxi industry and opened a taxi company, how could he dare to stop his own taxi drivers from transferring to Bao Sanli's company after the expiration of their contracts? However, if they were allowed to transfer to another company, it was estimated that not long after, the people in his company would be gone. If these people were transferred to Bao Sanli's company, he really didn't dare to say anything. He had to issue a certificate with a smile. When he thought of what was about to happen, Zhang Liebao's face immediately turned green. He knew that he was done for, but there was nothing he could do to stop it. This feeling made him feel so much pain that he wished he was dead. Mr. Yang. This taxi industry isn't very profitable. Brother Bao is a person who does big things. Why would he care about these small profits? Zhang Liebao quickly and carefully begged for mercy. Mr. Yang, don't worry. Our company will start to reorganize tomorrow. No, it will start in a while. We must start a new journey with a new look. We will refund all unreasonable deposits. Please wait and see, Mr. Yang. At this moment, Zhang Liebao also figured it out. If this continued, he would probably be finished. He couldn't argue with Yang Ming and Bao Sanli. He might as well do what Yang Ming said. Although there might not be much benefit in the short term, Yang Ming was right. From a long-term perspective, it was a good idea for long-term development. The most important thing was to be able to do it all the time without angering Bao Sanli. Well, if that's the case, then I will observe for a while. Yang Ming nodded. No problem, Mr. Yang. I will hold a meeting in a while. I want to welcome the future with a new face. Zhang Liebao quickly promised. Yang Ming didn't fully believe Zhang Liebao's words. He just said, I hope so. Zhang Yuliang, didn't I ask you to issue a certificate for Mr. Sun Kuan? Why are you dilly-dallying? Zhang Liebao saw that Zhang Yuliang hadn't gone to issue a certificate, so he immediately shouted impatiently. I'm going now. I'm going now. Zhang Yuliang thought, this Sun Kuan doesn't give me the materials. How can I issue it? So he quickly turned to look at Sun Kuan. Brother Kuan, you give me the materials and the expired contract. I will issue a certificate for you. No need. Sun Quan waved his hand. I don't want to change companies. Ah. Zhang Yuliang was stunned. Even Zhang Liebao and Yang Ming were stunned. Mr. Sun Quan, are you still angry? I'm really sorry about the previous matter. Zhang Liebao was stunned. He wondered if Sun Quan was still dissatisfied in his heart. After all, Sun Quan had also come to the company before. He had requested to change companies several times, but it wasn't done. It was normal to have resentment in his heart, so he quickly smiled at Sun Quan. Sun Quan, Zhang Liebao didn't care much, but now Sun Quan was with Yang Ming. His status naturally rose. He couldn't treat him with the previous common sense. Angry? Why would I be angry? I'm not angry anymore. Sun Quan smiled and waved his hand. I don't want to change companies, not because I deliberately want to find trouble, but because President Zhang, you just said that the company will be changed in the future. So, why should I go? I just happen to stay here and be a witness. Oh. Zhang Liebao was slightly stunned and immediately became happy. That's great, Mr. Sun Quan. You can rest assured. We will develop a new contract in the next few days. We promise not to let you down. At the very least, it won't be worse than other companies. Since Zhang Liebao had decided to change, he didn't care that Sun Quan would supervise him. Instead, he hoped that Sun Quan would stay here and personally feel the changes in the company. After that, he could say a few good words for himself in front of Yang Ming. This could also make Yang Ming dispel the idea of suggesting Bao Sanli to open a taxi company. Therefore, he welcomed Sun Quan to stay. Anyway, Sun Quan could stay, which was a recognition of him. Zhang Liebao held Sun Quan's hand affectionately. Mr. Sun Quan, thank you for your trust again. Well, President Zhang, don't be so polite. Since Brother Quan decided to stay here, it is also a good thing. Yang Ming was afraid that Zhang Liebao had resentment towards Sun Quan. Although it seemed that Zhang Liebao was very welcoming on the surface, who knew what he was thinking in his heart? You may know a person's face but not his heart. If Zhang Liebao wanted to get away with it, then Sun Quan would naturally become a thorn in his side if he stayed here. Therefore, Yang Ming deliberately warned, in this way, at least Brother Bao can't hurt you by accident. With Brother Quan here, you can also learn more about the situation. Hurt by accident? Zhang Liebao was shocked and complained in his heart. It turned out that I was almost hurt by accident. Listening to Yang Ming's meaning, it seemed that no matter what, he wanted Bao Sanli to hurt me. This Sun Quan stayed and became my savior. Thinking of this, Zhang Liebao thought that it was a close call. I must treat Sun Quan like a master in the future so that Sun Quan would put in a good word for me so that I wouldn't be hurt by accident. Sun Quan, in fact, thought so too. Since Yang Ming had intimidated Zhang Liebao could only treat him with courtesy if he stayed in the Dade Elegant Company. Even if he changed to a new company, although the fee was lower, he wouldn't get such courtesy. Therefore, when Sun Quan heard that Zhang Liebao decided to change the company, he decided to stay. Here, no one would make things difficult for him. Yes, yes. Zhang Liebao said, then, I have decided now to appoint Mr. Sun Quan as the supervisor of our Dade Elegant Taxi Company. He can raise objections to the company's management and charging system, and reserve the right to reflect the problems to Mr. Yang. This will also act as a spur and a reminder for our change pace. Zhang Liebao's brain was faster. After thinking about it, he came up with a job title for Sun Quan so that he could participate in the change legitimately. What Zhang Liebao was now afraid was that if he changed the system, Yang Ming would still be dissatisfied. Then, he would find an excuse to let Bao Sanli merge with him. Then, he would be unlucky. If Sun Quan was also involved, even if Yang Ming wasn't satisfied with the new system, Sun Quan would participate in the formulation. He believed that Yang Ming wouldn't be able to say anything. Now, seeing that Yang Ming kept calling him Brother Quan, the relationship between the two was definitely good. He believed that Yang Ming would definitely give Sun Quan face. Chapter 1589. This is your company's personnel arrangement. I can't intervene. Yang Ming was very satisfied with Zhang Libao's insight. Now it seemed that Sun Quan's position in the taxi company in the future could be fully guaranteed. At least Sun Quan would not be treated unfairly. With his relationship, even if Sun Quan was not treated like a boss, at least he would be treated specially. I don't know if Mr. Sun Quan would accept the position of supervisor. Zhang Libao saw that Yang Ming had no opinion, so he turned to Sun Quan. Mr. Sun Quan, you can rest assured that we will definitely not let you work for free. We will pay you a monthly salary. So, I will make the decision. 3,000 yuan a month. How about it? 3,000 yuan, this. Sun Quan couldn't accept it for a while. Isn't this change too huge? This supervisor, if it were normal times, it would be an honor for an ordinary taxi driver to be able to serve as a supervisor even if they didn't pay. To be recognized by the company and personally participate in the design and development of the company's plan, how could an ordinary person achieve this? Now, not only was he allowed to participate, but he was also given a salary of 3,000 yuan a month. This made Sun Quan feel like he was dreaming. He worked hard for a month. After deducting the cost of gas and expenses, he only had 5,000 yuan left. This supervisor gave him 3,000 yuan. How could this not make him excited? Seeing that Sun Quan didn't respond, Zhang Libao thought that Sun Quan felt that it was too little. He hurriedly said, 3,000 is indeed a bit too little. 5,000 a month. How about it, Mr. Sun Quan? Are you willing to be a supervisor of our Dade Elegant Taxi Company? Of course, I am willing. Sun Quan didn't expect that his hesitation would cause Zhang Libao to increase the company's salary to 5,000. He quickly nodded and agreed. Okay, then from today onwards, Mr. Sun Quan will be the supervisor of the company. In a while, I will publish Mr. Sun Quan's photo in the company's leaders column. Zhang Libao saw that Sun Quan had agreed, and he immediately felt relieved and said, spending 5,000 yuan a month to buy peace of mind was simply too cost-effective in Zhang Libao's opinion. He originally wanted to waive Sun Quan's fee, but he felt that it was not very good to do so. It would also be criticized by others, so he thought of the idea of a supervisor to compensate Sun Quan in a disguised form. He could also let Sun Quan participate in the company's system formulation, and it could also make Yang Ming feel at ease. It was simply killing two birds with one stone. Zhang Libao thought to himself, I am really a genius, to be able to think of such a powerful idea, simply too powerful. Well, since the matter is settled, then I won't cause any more trouble here. Yang Ming smiled and said, Zhang Libao, I hope you remember your promise today. Mr. Yang, you can rest assured. To put it bluntly, I really don't want to lose my job. Zhang Libao smiled bitterly, I really don't dare to offend you and Brother Bao. Yang Ming smiled and said to Sun Quan, Brother Quan, then I will go first. You stay here. If there is anything, let's call again. Sun Quan looked at Yang Ming gratefully and nodded heavily. Today's matter was all thanks to Yang Ming. Not only could he save a sum of money, but he also had new income every month. This made Sun Quan, who had a tight life, finally have money in his hands. The school selection fee for his son's school was also not a problem. If this continued, when it was time to pay the fee, he would definitely have enough money in his hands. In fact, these things were just a piece of cake for Yang Ming. Coming out of the taxi company, Yang Ming got in the car and looked at the time. It was 2:00 in the afternoon. At this time, there was nothing to do. It was too late to go back to school for class, and there was still a long time before the date with Sun Jia in the evening. It was rare for him to have a free moment when he had nothing to do. Yang Ming drove the car to the side of the road, then turned on the radio and quietly enjoyed the peace of this moment. This morning, Xia Wenjun, Lu Zhaojun, and Qi Jida are suspected of attempted rape and deliberately injuring the Nightless Club Hotel's waitress, Shen Yushi. The case was publicly tried by the Songjiang Intermediate People's Court. The indictment alleges that the defendant, Xia Wenjin, along with the other two defendants, Lu Zhaojun and Qi Jida, tailed the Nightless Club's hotel attendant, Shen Yushi, to the residential building in the XX district at around 2100 hours in the evening and attempted to rape her. Yang Ming frowned and turned up the volume of the radio in the car. Shen Yushi, a name that Yang Ming almost forgot. The news of the case on the radio reminded Yang Ming of the young and sweet waitress at the Nightless Club. The only interaction between the two people was when Sun Jia was shot at the Nightless Club. Later, it turned out that this incident was done by Tian Long, and Shen Yushi did not suffer any harm. It was reasonable to say that Yang Ming and Shen Yushi would not have anything to do with each other after that. However, this case made Yang Ming pay attention to this name again. Lu Zhaojun, such a familiar name. Yang Ming had long known that he was not a good person. He did not expect that he would do such a thing. Yang Ming sighed, took out the phone, and dialed Xia Bingbao's phone number. Yang Ming? Why are you looking for me again? Every time Xia Bingbao received a call from Yang Ming, it was always because Yang Ming had something to do. Otherwise, Yang Ming would never call him if he had nothing to do. Help me find out if there was anyone who interceded for Shen Yushi's case in court today. Yang Ming said to Xia Bingbao. Did anyone intercede? What do you mean? Are you looking for me to intercede, or what? Xia Bingbao was stunned and asked. Nothing. I have seen the three defendants. They are not good people, but their family backgrounds are not small. I am afraid that someone will intercede, said Yang Ming. I got it. Xia Bingbao breathed a sigh of relief. This kind of thing was not a big deal, and it would not violate any principles. It was not a big deal to judge the three villains. If Yang Ming asked him to convict an innocent person, it would be difficult to deal with. Yang Ming did not say much and hung up the phone. He believed that this was not a difficult thing for Xia Bingbao. After starting the car, Yang Ming rushed to the Songjiang First People's Hospital. For some reason, Yang Ming felt uncomfortable when he thought that Shen Yushi would be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. It was the best time of life. She should be enjoying life, but she could only sit in a wheelchair. Especially when Yang Ming saw Shen Yushi's healthy appearance, he could not accept it. Yang Ming made this call because he wanted those who hurt Shen Yushi to get the punishment they deserved. After parking the car in the hospital's parking lot, Yang Ming remembered that he still did not know Shen Yushi's ward number. He smiled bitterly and dialed the phone to Bao Sanli. Bao Sanli had been following up on Shen Yushi's matter. Brother Yang, what's the matter? Bao Sanli's phone was quickly connected, and Bao Sanli's voice came from the other side. Baozi, do you know which ward Shen Yushi is in? Asked Yang Ming. Shen Yushi? Bao Sanli was slightly stunned. Brother Yang, she has been discharged from the hospital. She also testified in court today. I accompanied her. Her legs are better? Yang Ming was also stunned. No, she is in a wheelchair. Bao Sanli sighed. There is no other way in the hospital. The external injuries have been cured, but there is no other way for the nerve problems in her legs. Is the verdict out? Asked Yang Ming. Not yet. The trial will continue next week, said Bao Sanli. Bao Sanli said that Xia Wenjin's family is quite capable. They found some people to pressure them, but we are not vegetarians. I am the boss of the security company, so they are quite afraid of me. And I have already found someone to ask. Don't worry. I will not let Xia Wenjin go, said Yang Ming. Baozi, I have troubled you with this matter. Why didn't you tell me? Brother Yang, you are too busy. You just came back yesterday. I didn't have time to tell you. Bao Sanli smiled bitterly. Brother Yang, are you looking for Miss Shen? I want to see her, said Yang Ming. Through this period of contact, Bao Sanli gradually saw that Shen Yushi was not Yang Ming's lover. Shin Yushi also admitted that she only had a one-sided crush on Yang Ming. However, Bao Sanli did not neglect Shin Yushi because of this. He was still very enthusiastic to help Shin Yushi with treatment and lawsuits. Chapter 1590. In any case, whether it was for public or private reasons, Bao Sanli would do his best. Shin Yushi was an employee of the Nightless Club, so Bao Sanli would definitely take care of her. Although he previously misunderstood that Shin Yushi was Yang Ming's lover, Shin Yushi finally admitted that she was secretly in love with Yang Ming. Feeling Shin Yushi's honesty and purity, Bao Sanli gradually liked this little girl. Of course, this like was only a kind of affection. She has now been discharged from the hospital and is recuperating at home. I sent her home after the court adjourned, said Bao Sanli. I see. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. He didn't know anything about this matter. Where is her home? In an old community not far from the Nightless Club. How about I take you there? Brother Yang, where are you? Asked Bao Sanli. I am at the beach. How about this? I will go to the Nightless Club, and you can take me there, said Yang Ming. Okay, I will go to the Nightless Club and wait for you, said Bao Sanli. For Yang Ming to think of Shin Yushi and visit her, Bao Sanli was happy and blessed Shin Yushi from the bottom of his heart. How could Bao Sanli not be clear about this little girl's thoughts? Shin Yushi had revealed her feelings in front of him more than once, but she was somewhat self-remorseful. If it were before she was paralyzed, Shin Yushi still had some confidence in herself, but now, Shin Yushi did not expect Yang Ming to like her. In this case, it was Shin Yushi's biggest wish that Yang Ming could come to see her. However, she also understood that she had no feelings for Yang Ming. If her legs were not broken, maybe something would happen between Yang Ming and her one day under the ambiguous atmosphere and rumors. But now, how could Yang Ming like a burden? The more it was like this, the more Bao Sanli pitied this girl. However, there were some words that he couldn't say to Yang Ming as a subordinate, so he could only help and care for Shin Yushi as much as possible. He also encouraged her not to give up. Perhaps, there would be a day when she could stand up again. When Yang Ming heard that Shin Yushi's leg had not improved, his mood was a little gloomy. He was no longer in a happy mood. He turned off the car radio and drove in the direction of the Nightless Club. During this time, Yang Ming almost never went to the Nightless Club. He parked the car in the parking lot of the Nightless Club. Yang Ming did not get off but called Bao Sanli. Brother Yang, have you arrived? I have arrived at the parking lot with Little Wang. Bao Sanli said. Little Wang? Yang Ming was stunned. It's your driver, Wang Lin. Bao Sanli said, I asked him to drive here, so he can recognize the door. Oh, it's him. Yang Ming suddenly realized. I'm also in the parking lot, in the northwest corner. I saw your car. I'll go over now, said Bao Sanli. Bao Sanli hung up the phone and said to Little Wang in the driver's seat, go to the northwest corner. Brother Yang is there. Okay, President Bao. Little Wang nodded politely and started the car. At this moment, Little Wang's mood could be said to be extremely excited. After finishing Yang Ming's matter in the morning, Little Liao always asked about some things when he returned to the company. However, it was no wonder that he used very little time to go back and forth, so it made Little Liao doubt whether he was working for Yang Ming. Or, Yang Ming didn't want him anymore. This made Little Wang very depressed. Although he pretended to be unfathomable and said that it was confidential, Little Wang knew that Little Liao still had some doubts. Just as Little Wang was depressed, Bao Sanli suddenly came to the motorcade in the afternoon. Little Liao thought that Bao Sanli was looking for him to drive, so he was very happy. He didn't forget to look at Little Wang proudly. However, Bao Sanli didn't even look at Little Liao. He directly looked for Little Wang and told him that Brother Yang had something to do, so he asked Little Wang to drive him out. This made Little Liao jealous and helpless. Now it seemed that Little Wang was favored. Thinking that he was still speculating and doubting Little Wang in the morning, Little Liao regretted it. It seemed that he must have a good relationship with little Wang in the future. Yang Ming walked down from the car and nodded to little Wang when he saw him. Then, he said, "Little Wang, you get out of the car. I will go with Bao Sanli. This is my car key. I knocked some paint off the front of my car. You go and deal with it." As he spoke, he threw the car key to little Wang. "Okay, brother Yang. You can rest assured. I will take care of it." Little Wang nodded quickly. Being able to help the leader repair the car was not something that ordinary people could do. Therefore, little Wang was very happy with Yang Ming's trust. He took the car key and quickly promised. "How much does it cost?" "You pay for it first. Just ask me later," said Bao Sanli. "Okay, President Bao." Little Wang responded and got into Yang Ming's BMW. Bao Sanli also changed to the driver's seat of the Audi A8, and Yang Ming sat in the passenger seat. Little Wang waited for Yang Ming's car to leave before he followed behind. Little Wang was afraid that there was nothing to do. As long as there was something to do, he was very happy. Thinking about it, little Liao would envy him for a while when he drove Yang Ming's BMW back to the company's motorcade. Thinking of the change in his status, little Wang was happy for no reason. "Baozi, have you appeased Shen Yushi's parents?" asked Yang Ming after he got in the car. "Her parents are fine. After all, this incident did not happen in our entertainment city, but in the corridor of Shen Yushi's house. So relatively speaking, we have no responsibility," said Bao Sanli. "And we took the initiative to bear the medical expenses. Shen Yushi's parents are very grateful to us. They are grateful that we have been paying for the medical expenses." "How much can Xia Wenjin compensate?" asked Yang Ming as he nodded. "We sued for 5 million in compensation, but it should not be so much. The final judgment will be around 1 million at most." "This is the most ideal," said Bao Sanli. Bao Sanli said, however, Xia Wenjin's father said that he would rather use the money as a gift than to compensate Shen Yushi. "Really? He said that?" Yang Ming's face immediately became gloomy after listening to Bao Sanli's words. He did not expect Xia Wenjin's family to be so arrogant without regret at this time. "Brother Yang, don't worry. Although he said so, I can guarantee that he can't give the money away. Who dares to accept his money? We are not to be trifled with," said Bao Sanli. Yang Ming was not afraid of him giving the money away, but he was annoyed with his attitude. "Did he really say that when I asked him this?" Bao Sanli nodded. "When the court was adjourned today, he said so. Since he dares to say so, he must pay the price." Yang Ming said faintly, "I will not let him go." "Brother Yang, do you need me to find a few brothers?" asked Bao Sanli after listening to Yang Ming's words. "No, Xia Wenjin's father is not an ordinary person. If you do it, it will bring you trouble. Then, they will sue you in turn." Yang Ming waved his hand and said, "However, if I do it, there will be no such trouble. Wait until the next court session, humph." Although Bao Sanli did not know why Yang Ming wanted to wait until the next court session, he still nodded and did not say anything because of his trust in Yang Ming. The car stopped at the entrance of an old-fashioned community. This kind of community did not have a designated parking space, so the car could only be parked on the roadside of the community. "Brother Yang, it's here. We have to walk in," said Bao Sanli. Yang Ming nodded and got out of the car with Bao Sanli. After a few turns in the community, they came to an old-fashioned residential building. Bao Sanli went upstairs first, and Yang Ming followed closely behind. There was a moldy smell in the corridor, mixed with the smell of vegetable leaves and pickled vegetables. This was a typical old-fashioned house. It could be imagined that the people who lived here were not rich. The rich had already moved away. Chapter 1591. Both sides of the narrow staircase were filled with various sundries. There were old storage cabinets, large jars used for pickling vegetables, salted cucumbers, and green onions hanging at the side of the corridor, and cabbages placed on the windowsill. It was a typical farmhouse decoration. This kind of situation was rare in some new communities. Only some old people who moved back would be like this. How many young people knew how to pickle vegetables? Most of the people living in this community are former laid-off workers from the chemical factory. Most of them are not very rich, Bao Sanli explained to Yang Ming when he saw Yang Ming looking around the corridor. What do Shin Yushi's parents do? Yang Ming nodded and asked. Shin Yushi's father, Shin Daki, was originally a workshop worker in Songjiang's North and South chemical factory. After he was laid off, he set up a breakfast stall in the market near this community. He made some sesame seed cakes and tofu pudding. Shin Yushi's mother, Sun Liping, used to be a part-time worker. Now that Shin Yushi's legs are not good, she takes care of Shin Yushi at home. She makes some pickled vegetables at home and lets Shin Daki sell them at the market at noon and at night. Bao Sanli said, originally, the management office of the market also charged a daily fee. After I talked to them, they waived half of the fee. You didn't represent the company to give Shin Yushi's family some money? Yang Ming asked when he heard that Shin Yushi's family was actually so poor. I did, but Shin Daki didn't want it no matter what. Bao Sanli smiled bitterly and said, Shin Daki is a simple man. He felt that since our company had already paid so much for Shin Yushi's medical expenses, it would be unreasonable to ask for more money from us. Yang Ming was slightly stunned, but he didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it. Shin Daki's character was similar to Yang Dahai's character in the past. He was simple and wouldn't take advantage of others. We're here, Brother Yang. This is the door. Bao Sanli stopped in front of a door on the top floor and said to Yang Ming. Oh. Shin Yushi's house is so high up. How did she go up and down the stairs? Yang Ming saw that Shin Yushi lived on the top floor and couldn't help but frown. She was carried up on a stretcher. Bao Sanli smiled and said, there are so many strong men in our company. Just call a few of them and they would rush to help. Help. Yang. After listening to Bao Sanli, he couldn't help but feel speechless. Indeed, there were a lot of strong men in the security company. And they could easily find a few of them to carry Shin Yushi to go up and down. Dang dang dang. Bao Sanli knocked on the door. Who is it? After a while, a man's voice came from inside the room. Is it Ol Lu? You can set up your own stall today, I won't be going. As they were talking, the door was opened. A middle-aged man's face full of wrinkles appeared. After seeing Bao Sanli, he was stunned. Mr. Bao, why are you here? Please come in. I thought it was old Lu downstairs, looking for me to set up a stall in the market. Uncle Shen, this is Yang Ming. Mr. Yang. He came with me to see Yushi. Bao Sanli smiled and introduced Yang Ming to Shin Daki. Previously, Bao Sanli had misunderstood the relationship between Shin Yushi and Yang Ming. Therefore, even though he was younger than Shin Daki by about 10 years, he was afraid that he would mess up the seniority between him and Yang Ming. Therefore, he called Shin Daki uncle. Oh. Shin Daki was stunned and looked at Yang Ming in surprise. His daughter had mentioned Yang Ming's name during this period of time. Shin Daki misunderstood and thought that Yang Ming was Shin Yushi's boyfriend. When he saw his daughter's expression when she talked, Shin Yushi seemed to have deep feelings for Yang Ming. Although Shin Daki tried to ask his daughter about Yang Ming, Shin Yushi kept her mouth shut and didn't say anything important. However, the more she acted like this, the more Shin Daki was sure that this Yang Ming was Yang Ming's boyfriend. Maybe because his daughter had become like this, her boyfriend had probably left her. Therefore, after Shin Daki guessed this, he didn't dare to ask his daughter anything. He didn't want to make his daughter sad. However, Shin Daki was secretly angry. He scolded this Yang Ming for being heartless. After his daughter got into trouble, this boyfriend called Yang Ming didn't come to visit her, not even symbolically. This made Shin Daki even more angry. When he suddenly heard Bao Sanli say that the person who came was Yang Ming, Shindaki's face immediately became gloomy. Yang Ming, I've heard a lot about you. Shindaki said coldly and didn't look at Yang Ming anymore. He turned around and said to Bao Sanli, Mr. Bao, please come in. Uncle Shin. Yang Ming called out to Shindaki doubtfully. He didn't know why Shindaki would treat him like this. It was as if there was a deep hatred between them. Bao Sanli was also very puzzled. He didn't understand what was wrong with Shindaki. However, it wasn't strange. Even if Shindaki had complaints, he wouldn't say bad things about Yang Ming to Bao Sanli. In Shindaki's opinion, it was impossible for Bao Sanli to know Yang Ming. Therefore, Bao Sanli naturally wouldn't say these things to him. When he suddenly saw Yang Ming and Bao Sanli together today, he was only angry at Yang Ming and neglected these small details. Humph, Shindaki snorted and didn't bother with Yang Ming. He also didn't say anything to Yang Ming. Yang Ming and Bao Sanli looked at each other and couldn't help but smile bitterly as they shrugged. Baozi, how did I offend Uncle Shin? I'm not sure either. You two probably haven't met before, right? Bao Sanli was also confused. Could it be that he is angry because you, as the chairman of the group, didn't come to visit Shin Yushi even once? He knows that I'm the chairman. Yang Ming shook his head in disbelief. He probably doesn't know, right? Then, I really can't guess. Why don't I ask? Bao Sanli thought for a while and couldn't think of a reason, so he said this. Forget it. It's not polite to ask directly. Let's take a look first. Yang Ming and Bao Sanli entered Shin Yushi's house together. Yang Ming and Bao Sanli followed Shindaki into the house. This was a typical small house with only one living room and one suite. When Yang Ming came to the living room, he saw a girl with a haggard face that couldn't hide her beauty flipping through something on the sofa. Yushi, Mr. Bao is here to see you, Shindaki said to Shin Yushi. Oh. Brother Bao? Shin Yushi put down the book in her hand in surprise. Brother Bao, didn't you just leave? Why did you come back? During this period of time, Shin Yushi and Bao Sanli's relationship had become more familiar. In the past, Shin Yushi still called Bao Sanli as President Bao. Later, Bao Sanli felt that it was strange and simply let her call him Brother Bao. Ah. Shin Yushi raised her head and saw Yang Ming coming into the house with Bao Sanli. She was stunned for a moment. She couldn't help but blush. Her beautiful eyes revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. Shin Yushi had always hoped that Yang Ming would come to see her. However, she also knew that her thoughts were somewhat unrealistic. Not to mention that she had no relationship with Yang Ming, it was still uncertain whether Yang Ming would still remember her. Even if he remembered her, how could Yang Ming come to see her? During this period of time, Shin Yushi had already found out about Yang Ming's true identity from her conversations with Bao Sanli. He was the chairman of the Ming-Yang group. Even Bao Sanli was his subordinate. How could such a person have any relationship with her? Her previous thoughts of being Yang Ming's lover had also faded a lot. However, after putting aside these unrealistic thoughts, Shin Yushi realized that she still had a good impression of Yang Ming in her heart. It was not because of anything else. Because of that time when he saved the damsel in distress in the private room, Shin Yushi's young maiden heart was deeply moved. Seeing his daughter's shy expression, Shindaki's heart was even more convinced. His expression became even more gloomy. While his heart ached for his daughter's infatuation, he was also a little annoyed by Yang Ming's heartless behavior. Looking at Yang Ming's calm expression, how did he look like his daughter's boyfriend? He looked like an ordinary stranger. This was Shindaki's misunderstanding of Yang Ming. Yang Ming had no other relationship with Shin Yushi. If they were too close, there would be a problem. However, Shindaki's first impression was the strongest. He believed that Yang Ming was a heartless man who did not want his daughter when he saw that she was disabled. This time, Yang Ming came to see Shin Yushi. Shindaki guessed that perhaps Bao Sanli knew that his daughter was still thinking about Yang Ming, so he captured Yang Ming and brought him to his daughter. Shindaki more or less knew about Bao Sanli's social connections and power. If Bao Sanli wanted to find someone, it would not be difficult. Chapter 1592. Mr. Bao, please have some tea. Shindaki poured a cup of tea for Bao Sanli and placed it on the coffee table in front of him. However, he completely ignored Yang Ming's existence. This. Thank you. Bao Sanli took the tea from Shindaki. He didn't know whether to drink it or give it to Yang Ming. He suddenly felt a little awkward. He didn't know what was wrong with Shindaki today. You can drink it, I'm not thirsty. Yang Ming smiled bitterly as he looked at Bao Sanli and said. You're not thirsty either. Shindaki said in his heart. However, he still suppressed his anger and didn't say it out loud. He wanted to see what Yang Ming would say to his daughter later. If he said something that could make them reconcile, then this matter would be over. However, if he really wanted to break up with his daughter or say something unfamiliar, then it wouldn't be too late for him to scold him. Shinyushi, how are you? Yang Ming couldn't figure out why Shindaki treated him like this for the time being. He didn't care about him and simply turned his head to look at Shinyushi and asked with concern. I still can't feel my leg. When Shinyushi mentioned her leg, her face turned gloomy. The joy that she felt when Yang Ming came to visit her had also faded a little. Shinyushi didn't know how Bao Sanli managed to invite Yang Ming over. However, she found out from Bao Sanli that Yang Ming had gone on a long trip a while ago. She was afraid that he had just returned. Bao Sanli was well aware of her feelings. She didn't know if he had told Yang Ming about it. When she thought that Yang Ming might know that she had a crush on him, Shinyushi's face turned hot. She shyly lowered her head. Yang Ming didn't see the shyness on Shinyushi's face. When he saw her lowering her head, he thought that she was sad because of the injury on her leg. Thus, he comforted her, medicine is so advanced now. There will always be a way. What did the doctor say? The doctor said that there is no other way for Western medicine. He asked me to try Chinese medicine. Shinyushi sighed and said, the doctor asked me to try traditional Chinese massage and acupuncture. However, Brother Bao took me to try a few, but there was no effect, as long as there is hope. Yang Ming nodded and comforted him, this kind of treatment is a slow process. It can't be done overnight. Shinyushi listened to Yang Ming's encouragement, and hope rekindled in her heart. I hope that I can stand up again. I think so. Yang Ming nodded. What book are you reading? Yang Ming decided to change the topic first. The previous topic was a little heavy. He was afraid that if they talked too much, it would affect Shinyushi's mood. Oh, a book on hotel management. Shinyushi was a little embarrassed, but she did not hide it from Yang Ming. I bought it when I was working as a foreman in the hotel. I was going to learn it, but I didn't expect that something would happen later. Now that I have nothing to do, I took it out and flipped through it. Besides, with my family's situation, there are really no other books to read. Shinyushi was a little embarrassed as she spoke. Yang Ming naturally knew what Shinyushi meant when she said that there were no other books to read. Shinyushi's parents were both laid-off workers. They were not educated, so it was naturally impossible for them to buy any books. Before Shinyushi became a foreman, her income was definitely not much, so it was impossible for her to buy any books. Listening to Shinyushi's words, Yang Ming's heart felt uncomfortable. He did not expect that after all this talk, it would still be a sad thing. Take care of yourself. When you are better, these can be used. It will definitely work, said Yang Ming. Hee, I hope so. Shinyushi smiled sweetly. She felt that today was the happiest day since her accident. Although Yang Ming and her were just ordinary words, Shinyushi was already very happy. This kind of opportunity did not always come by. Moreover, Shinyushi had calmed down her mentality at the moment. She knew that she was definitely not worthy of Yang Ming now, so she no longer had that kind of thought and did not insist on anything. Since you like to read books, I will look for them one day. I seem to have a lot of similar books in my dormitory. I will bring them all to you. Yang Ming remembered that Tian Donghua and Zhang Bin had bought a lot of management books. After Tian Donghua left, these books were left in the dormitory and were not taken away. Yang Ming wanted to make good use of the waste. Okay. Shin Yushi nodded happily after listening to Yang Ming's words. Alright, then that's it for now. I still have something to do tonight. I will come to see you another day. Yang Ming looked at the time on his phone and said to Shin Yushi. Okay. Shin Yushi was very happy. There was no other reason. After Yang Ming came today, he promised to bring her books another day. Although Shin Yushi knew that she was not worthy of Yang Ming in her current situation, she still hoped that she could spend more time with Yang Ming. She also hoped that something would happen between them. You are leaving just like that? Seeing that Yang Ming wanted to leave, Shindaki finally could not help but block Yang Ming's path, not letting him leave. Why can't I leave? Yang Ming was stunned by Shindaki's action. Looking at Shindaki's furious face, Yang Ming was really speechless. How did he offend this honest man? When Shindaki saw that Yang Ming was pretending to be stupid, he was so angry that his whole body trembled. He pointed at Yang Ming and scolded him, "You played with my daughter before. Now that my daughter's leg is injured, you don't care anymore. Has your conscience been eaten away by a dog?" When he was agitated, he did not choose his words carefully. Originally, Shindaki was not very educated. He originally wanted to express that his daughter and Yang Ming were together, but Yang Ming left her when Shin Yushi was sick. However, when the words reached his mouth, he became agitated and said that Yang Ming played with Shin Yushi. Huh? Yang Ming opened his eyes wide and looked at Shindaki in shock. He was speechless. Yang Ming's head was covered in cold sweat. When did I play with Shin Yushi, and when did I not care anymore? Bao Sanli was also stunned by Shindaki's sudden attack. He stared blankly at Shindaki and was speechless. On the other hand, when Shin Yushi heard Shindaki's words, she immediately understood what was going on. Father must have misunderstood her relationship with Yang Ming. Her previous hesitation did not make her father feel at ease. Instead, it made her father feel that she had a relationship with Yang Ming. That was why there was such an awkward situation now. Shin Yushi felt that her face was burning. It was simply too embarrassing. How could father suddenly say this? Father, what are you saying? Shin Yushi was anxious and quickly shouted at Shindaki. Yushi, don't be afraid. Father will definitely stand up for you today. However, Shindaki waved his hand and interrupted Shin Yushi. Yang Ming, my daughter still thinks about you and misses you all the time. Even now, she still doesn't forget to protect you. However, do you really feel at ease? Yang Ming didn't know how to explain after hearing Shindaki's words. At this moment, Yang Ming also faintly guessed something. Shindaki must have misunderstood something. When Shin Yushi heard her father say her worries in front of Yang Ming, she immediately felt very embarrassed. Her face was red as she shouted, Father, what are you talking about? You've made a mistake. Made a mistake? What did I make a mistake? When Shindaki saw that his daughter was actually so obsessed that she was still trying to exonerate Yang Ming, he also became a little anxious. This brat Yang Ming is dating you. When your legs were fine, he was with you. Now that your legs are fine, he didn't even come to see you for so long. Did I see wrongly? Dating? Yang Ming looked at Bao Sanli dumbfoundedly and smiled bitterly. Brother Bao, why don't you explain? Uncle Shen, don't be agitated. There must be a misunderstanding in between. At this moment, Bao Sanli also understood what was going on. After being reminded by Yang Ming, he quickly said to Shindaki. President Bao, didn't you capture this Yang Ming and bring him to Yushi? Shindaki didn't expect that Bao Sanli would also say that there was a misunderstanding in between. He was immediately stunned. I captured him? Bao Sanli was stunned. He shook his head and said, how could I capture him? Mr. Yang requested to come here himself. I was only leading the way. Chapter 1593. I thought that you brought this Yang Ming to Yushi because Yushi always talks about him. Shindaki suddenly said, so, brat, you were the one who requested to bring him here? Shindaki turned his head towards Yang Ming and asked. It's me. Yang Ming nodded blankly. He looked at Yushi strangely. This girl likes me? Now it seems that she often talks about me at home. That's why this misunderstanding happened. Okay, then tell me, do you want my Yushi or not? Shindaki asked Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing Shindaki's words. How could he promote his daughter like this? Although Yushi's legs were numb, she was still an outstanding beauty. It wasn't like she couldn't get married, right? Dad, are you done messing around? When Yushi heard that her father was still interrogating Yang Ming about some groundless things, she couldn't help but say, Dad, what are you talking about? Yang Ming is the chairman of the Ming Yang Group, which is the head office of our nightless hotel. He's not my boyfriend. Shindaki was stunned. He looked at Yushi in disbelief. Yushi, what are you saying? You're saying Yang Ming isn't your boyfriend? He's not. Yushi blushed and shook her head. He's the chairman of your group? Shindaki looked at Yang Ming awkwardly. Yes, he's the chairman of our group. Yushi nodded. So, you're saying, he's not your boyfriend? Shindaki scratched his head doubtfully. Of course not. Yushi bit her lips and lowered her head shyly. What happened today was really too embarrassing. How was she going to face Yang Ming in the future after what her father did? Shindaki slapped his forehead and changed the way he addressed Yang Ming, that. Chairman Yang. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I mistook you for Yushi's boyfriend. I'm really sorry for being rude to you before, it's nothing. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and said, it's good that you figured it out. I thought I had offended you before. Yang Ming really didn't have any bad feelings towards this honest middle-aged man. When he saw him, he thought of his father in the past. Therefore, Yang Ming didn't get angry, he just felt helpless. Don't mention it. Shindaki also smiled bitterly, it's all that brat Yushi's fault. She always mentions your name and is so affectionate. I thought you were her boyfriend. Dad. If you keep talking about it, I won't be good with you anymore. Yushi was really anxious now. If Yang Ming asked about what happened before, she could just cover it up. However, her father had actually told him everything in detail. How was she going to face Yang Ming in the future? Okay, I won't talk about it anymore. Shindaki was shocked and quickly shut his mouth. Yang Ming felt that Yushi's girly attitude was a little funny, but he couldn't laugh. His heart felt heavy for no reason. After knowing Yushi's thoughts, Yang Ming was a little worried. If it was any other time, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, under the current situation, his unintentional words might hurt Yushi's fragile heart. Therefore, Yang Ming was also a little embarrassed. He was frozen in place and didn't know what to say. Yang Ming. Chairman Yang, you don't have to listen to my father's nonsense. When Yushi saw that Yang Ming was stunned, she quickly explained, it's just that you saved me before. I am grateful to you from the bottom of my heart, so I said a few more words, and my father misunderstood. You should just call me Yang Ming. Don't call me Chairman Yang, it's a little awkward. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and waved his hand. That's okay. Yushi didn't know why she directly called Yang Ming. The age gap between her and Yang Ming was too small. She was really not used to calling Yang Ming a leader. It's okay, Yang Ming said, it's just a misunderstanding. It's fine as long as it's clarified. You don't have to worry. Yushi nodded, then, are you still coming? I'll naturally send the books to you when I find them, Yang Ming nodded. And, Shinyushi nodded again. Then, I'll be leaving? Yang Ming asked. And, Shinyushi nodded again. Uncle Shen, Bao Sanli and I will be leaving first. If there's anything, just give Baozi a call, Yang Ming said to Shindaki. Okay, Chairman Yang. I'm really sorry about what happened before. Shindaki was still a little embarrassed when he faced Yang Ming. After knowing Yang Ming's identity, Shindaki immediately understood the whole story. It must be that his daughter had a one-sided crush on Yang Ming. He even scolded Yang Ming. This made Shindaki feel very embarrassed. It's nothing, Yang Ming waved his hand, I've already said that it's a misunderstanding. After glancing at Shinyushi, Yang Ming waved his hand at her. When Shinyushi saw that Yang Ming didn't take the previous matter to heart, she happily waved her hand at Yang Ming. Yang Ming and Bao Sanli then left the Shin residence together. Shinyushi couldn't get up, so Shindaki sent Yang Ming and Bao Sanli to the staircase. Uncle Shen, you can go back, Yang Ming said. Come and play when you have time. Shindaki said enthusiastically. He was no longer as cold as before. After leaving the staircase, Yang Ming let out a sigh of relief. You already knew? Yang Ming looked at Bao Sanli and asked. Brother Yang. I'm sorry, Bao Sanli was shocked and quickly apologized. Who asked you to apologize? Yang Ming frowned, I'm asking if you already knew. I know a little. Bao Sanli nodded. Previously, when Yushi was at the Nightless Club, there were rumors that she was your lover. When I promoted her to foreman, it was also because of this reason. Jing Xiaolu, Shin Yushi. Yang Ming glared at Bao Sanli, you're really smooth and slick. Things haven't even started yet, but you've already made preparations. Yang Ming. I'm sorry, Bao Sanli felt a chill in his heart and said carefully. I already said that I didn't ask you to apologize. Yang Ming waved his hand, your way of doing things is understandable, but when did this Shinyushi have a good impression of me? Why didn't I know? It was that time when you saved her in the private room, right? Bao Sanli reminded him. Yang Ming thought about it, and this was the only possibility, so he nodded. Is there any hope for her leg to be cured? It's hard to say. Bao Sanli hesitated and said, I tried many traditional Chinese medicine halls, but there was no effect. However, a few of them were liars. They kept recommending me to buy medicine and nutritional products. I was so angry that I asked someone to smash their signboard. The remaining few didn't have much effect. Although they were not liars, they were also quacks. After listening to Bao Sanli's words, Yang Ming almost laughed to death. Why are you still so reckless? This kind of difficult and miscellaneous disease is not easy to cure. I will try my best to contact them again. Bao Sanli smiled embarrassedly. The next time you come to see Shinyushi, give me a call. Yang Ming didn't have a good impression of Shinyushi, but he felt that this girl was a little cute. The reason why Yang Ming said this was entirely because he wanted Shinyushi to maintain a positive attitude and face every day happily. This way, the hope of recovery would be greater. In many cases, the recovery of stubborn diseases still depended on the patient's own will. Okay. Bao Sanli nodded. Until they got in the car, Yang Ming's mood slowly calmed down. How to deal with the relationship with Shinyushi gave Yang Ming a headache. For such a girl, Yang Ming couldn't bear to directly say anything to refuse. However, what Yang Ming didn't expect was that an amazing scene was playing out in Dade Elegant Taxi Company. Zhang Yuliang, hit me again. Zhang Liebao ordered Zhang Yuliang. Zhang Yuliang didn't know what Zhang Liebao meant. Fourth master, what are you talking about? I asked you to hit me again. Didn't you hear me? Said Zhang Liebao. Hit you? Why would I hit you? Zhang Yuliang was stunned. Fourth master, Brother Yang has already left. Why do you still want to use this trick? Just hit me when I ask you to. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Zhang Liebao saw Zhang Yuliang being so naggy, and he was a little unhappy. That's fine. Then I will hit you. This is what you asked me to do. Zhang Yuliang said helplessly. Hurry up. Don't waste time. Zhang Liebao frowned. Pa. Zhang Yuliang slapped Zhang Liebao's face. Chapter 1594. Oh. Zhang Liebao let out a strange cry. Fourth master, what's wrong with you? Zhang Yuliang asked hurriedly. You hit me too lightly. Use more strength. What's wrong with not eating? Zhang Liebao touched the face that was slapped by Zhang Yuliang and said, use more strength. Ah. Zhang Yuliang deliberately didn't dare to use too much strength. He didn't expect that not using strength was not enough. It couldn't be helped. Zhang Yuliang had to reach out his hand again and slapped Zhang Liebao. This time, he didn't hold back. He slapped Zhang Liebao's face directly with all his strength. Ayo! Zhang Liebao screamed. Fourth master, are you okay? You told me to use strength? Zhang Yuliang asked carefully with a bitter face. Cool. Zhang Liebao spat out a word with a satisfied smile. Of course, I told you to use more strength. This time, it's not bad. Again. Again? Zhang Yuliang really didn't know what to say. Is this fourth master sick? Yang Ming is gone, and he still wants me to hit him? Nonsense, hurry up. Zhang Liebao said. Oh. Zhang Yuliang raised his arm again and slapped Zhang Liebao. Zhang Liebao's face was full of nosebleeds. Cool, it's really cool. Zhang Liebao shouted. Zhang Yuliang suddenly felt a chill. Could it be that his fourth uncle had masochistic tendencies? Why does he like to be beaten so much? Zhang Yuliang really guessed right. Zhang Liebao was under pressure before. When he faced Yang Ming, he only hoped that Zhang Yuliang could beat him as hard as possible so that Yang Ming would forgive him. Therefore, under the psychological pressure and expectation of Yang Ming's forgiveness, Zhang Liebao's heart was distorted. He had an indescribable pleasure for being beaten. This was also the reason why he let Zhang Yuliang continue to beat him. Why did you stop? Zhang Liebao frowned. Continue. Zhang Yuliang looked at Zhang Liebao, who had almost turned into a pig's head. He sighed and could only wave his arm again. If Yang Ming knew that Zhang Liebao's heart had changed in an instant, who knew what he would think? Brother Yang, where are we going now? Asked Bao Sanli. I have an appointment with Sun Jia for dinner tonight. Wait for me to ask her about the location. You can send me there later. Yang Ming said, little Jia has a car. I will take her car tonight. Okay. Bao Sanli replied. Bao Sanli was very clear about the relationship between Yang Ming and Sun Jia, so he had no doubts about Yang Ming and Sun Jia eating together. Yang Ming looked at the time and dialed Sun Jia's number. Sun Jia, where are you? Asked Yang Ming. Yang Ming? I am in class. Sun Jia said, what's wrong? What's the matter? You are still in class. I looked at the time and thought you were done. Yang Ming said apologetically, didn't we agree to eat together tonight? Where are you going? I will book a place first. Let me think about it. Why don't we go to the Nightless Club or the International Hotel? Anyway, it is your territory. Sun Jia said. That's fine. Then, let's go to the International Hotel. The reason why Yang Ming didn't choose the Nightless Club was that Sun Jia was attacked there last time. Yang Ming was afraid that Sun Jia would have a psychological shadow and remember some unpleasant things. Moreover, on the top floor of the Songjiang International Hotel, Yang Ming also had a villa. After eating at night, they could stay there directly, so they didn't have to go to other places. Okay, then send me a text message after you book a room. Sun Jia said. Okay, then contact me by text message," Yang Ming said. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming said to Bao Sanli, "Let's go to the International Hotel. Help me book a private room." "Okay." Bao Sanli nodded and started the car. In the afternoon, Zhao Ying's mood was very nervous. If it weren't for Sun Jie's previous urging, she wouldn't have asked Yang Ming out. However, with Sun Jie's encouragement, Zhao Ying agreed in a muddle-headed manner. In the afternoon class, after her mind calmed down, she was a little embarrassed. What reason do I have to ask Yang Ming out? Could it be that my friend wants to see him? How awkward is that? Yang Ming and I aren't in a relationship. What if Sun Jie asks some inappropriate questions after I go there? Therefore, the more Zhao Ying thought about it, the more scared she was. During the afternoon class, she was absent-minded. She played with the phone in her hand and didn't know how to talk to Yang Ming. However, Zhao Ying had already promised Sun Jie to have dinner together. At this time, it wasn't very good to go back on her words. What should I do? Zhao Ying couldn't make up her mind for a while. For so long, she hadn't contacted Yang Ming. She suddenly asked him to have dinner because Sun Jie wanted to see him. If Sun Jie said something that embarrassed her, then how could she face Yang Ming in the future? Zhao Ying also became a bad student today. She was distracted during class. When she remembered that when she was a teacher, Yang Ming was distracted and didn't know what he was thinking, Zhao Ying smiled bitterly. Zhao Ying didn't expect that she would become a student one day. Moreover, she would be distracted in class. In a daze, she heard a noise coming from the classroom. The students around her stood up one after another. Zhao Ying suddenly came back to her senses. She didn't know when the class had ended, but she didn't hear it. "Zhao Ying, are you free tonight? Let's have dinner together." Fan Jinja walked over with a smile and stood next to Zhao Ying. He reached out and made an inviting gesture. Fan Jinja went back and changed his clothes. Then, he checked Zhao Ying's class schedule. He deliberately waited at the door of Zhao Ying's class and waited for the class to end. Then, he walked into the classroom. He freshened up and wore a suit that he thought was chic just to give Zhao Ying a new look. He believed that as long as Sun Jie didn't mess things up, he would definitely be able to capture Zhao Ying's heart. This was because Fan Jinja also saw that Zhao Ying was very simple and not so scheming. Sun Jie, on the other hand, was like a little fox. He couldn't take advantage of her at all. Tonight? I don't have time. I have an appointment with someone else. Zhao Ying was shocked when she saw Fan Jinja. After hearing Fan Jinja's words, she shook her head and refused. "Oh? You have an appointment with someone? Who is it?" Fan Jinja was slightly disappointed, but he still didn't give up and asked. "I have an appointment with Sun Jie to have dinner together," said Zhao Ying. "If that's the case, it's okay. Let's go together." Fan Jinja heard that it was Sun Jie. Although he was a little reluctant, he still said it in order to have more contact with Zhao Ying. Zhao Ying frowned. Why is this person so difficult to deal with? However, she wasn't the kind of person who was good at expressing her feelings. She didn't know how to refuse Fan Jinja, so she could only say, "Then you can talk to Sun Jie." Fan Jinja was slightly stunned. He didn't expect that Zhao Ying also knew how to play Tai Chi. The reason why he talked to Zhao Ying was that he knew that Zhao Ying was the kind of girl who wasn't good at expressing herself. If it was Sun Jie, he really had no confidence at all. Wasn't this afternoon miserable enough? Zhao Ying had something on her mind, so she didn't bother to pay attention to Fan Jinja. She picked up her small bag and walked to the door of the classroom. Fan Jinja quickly followed and shouted from behind, "Zhao Ying, wait for me." Zhao Ying didn't speak. She hated Fan Jinja very much in her heart. Why did he have to cause trouble at this time? After leaving the teaching building, she looked up and saw Sun Jie waiting for her in front of the teaching building. Zhao Ying was happy and quickly quickened her pace. "Little Jie." Zhao Ying waved at her. Zhao Ying, why did you only end class now? Your instructor can really drag it out. Sun Jie saw Zhao Ying, waved at her, and complained. Chapter 1595. Really? Zhao Ying was muddle-headed throughout the class. She didn't look at the time. She didn't know what was being talked about in today's class, nor did she notice how long the class lasted. It's 20 minutes later than usual, said Sun Jie. Little Jie. Fan Jinja caught up from behind. When he saw Sun Jie, he quickly smiled at her and made a pose that he thought was cool. Who allowed you to call me Little Jie? Sun Jie frowned. Am I very close to you? Ugh. I heard Zhao Ying call you that. Fan Jinja wanted to get close to Sun Jie, but he didn't expect that such an address would make Sun Jie feel disgusted with him. Sun Jie snorted softly and ignored Fan Jinja. Instead, she said to Zhao Ying, let's go. Zhao Ying nodded and glanced at Fan Jinja from the corner of her eyes. She didn't know how to deal with this person. You are going to eat, right? Let's go. Let's go together. It's my treat, said Fan Jinja elegantly. It's okay. We have an appointment. Sun Jie glanced at Fan Jinja and refused. Oh, I see. Seeing that Sun Jie didn't want to bring him along, Fan Jinja still said shamelessly, I have a car. It's in the parking lot. Where are you going? I can send you there. Sun Jie didn't even bother with Fan Jinja this time. She walked directly in the direction of the parking lot with Sun Jie. Fan Jinja thought that Sun Jie had acquiesced to his suggestion. He was delighted and followed behind the two of them, walking in the direction of the parking lot. As Fan Jinja walked, he was calculating in his heart. After Sun Jie and Zhao Ying get in the car, I will persuade them. Then, maybe they will agree to eat with me. Sun Jie's so-called appointment was just an excuse in Fan Jinja's opinion. Otherwise, why did Zhao Ying only say that she had an appointment with Sun Jie and didn't say that she had an appointment with someone else? Therefore, Fan Jinja was sure that Sun Jie, this little vixen, must be deceiving him. Fan Jinja had a deep understanding of Sun Jie's shrewdness, so he had given up on pursuing Sun Jie. He knew that he couldn't control a woman like Sun Jie. Zhao Ying was purer and more delicate. They followed Sun Jie and Zhao Ying to the parking lot. Fan Jinja ran in front of the two women, then he raised the car remote control in his hand and pressed it in the air. A Honda Accord made a beep sound, and the lights flashed twice. This is my car. Both of you, please get in. Fan Jinja gestured to Sun Jie and Zhao Ying. Sun Jie and Zhao Ying stopped and looked at each other. They saw helplessness and amusement in each other's eyes. After looking at each other, the two continued to walk forward. Fan Jinja saw Sun Jie and Zhao Ying looking at each other before walking towards his car. He was overjoyed and quickly followed them. However, when Sun Jie and Zhao Ying passed by his car, they didn't stop at all but continued to move forward. What are you going to do? My car is here. Fan Jinja saw that Sun Jie and Zhao Ying didn't sit in his car. He was a little anxious and shouted at them. Sun Jie and Zhao Ying ignored him and continued to move forward. Zhao Ying, Sun Jie, my car is here. Fan Jinja patted his car door and said, this is the Accord. It's mine. Sun Jie was really annoyed by Fan Jinja's shouting. There was still some distance between them, so she had no choice but to take out the remote control and press it first. A red Audi R8 in the distance made two sounds. Sun Jie and Zhao Ying quickened their pace and walked towards the red R8. This. Fan Jinja was a little dumbfounded. He stared blankly at the red Audi R8 in the distance. Although he didn't know the value of the R8, Fan Jinja knew very well from the image in Iron Man that this car was definitely not cheap. Fan Jinja felt that he was already very rich in school. He had his own company outside the school. The car he usually drove was a Honda Accord that cost more than 200,000 yuan. he could show off in front of the girls. He originally thought that he could show his face in front of Sun Jia and Zhao Ying, but he didn't expect that Sun Jia's car was much more high-end than his. Thinking about Sun Jia's usual words and actions, Fan Jinja was sure that Sun Jia must be a rich girl who didn't put him in her eyes at all. No wonder Sun Jia didn't care about me. Fan Jinja sighed. However, he didn't feel too disappointed. Instead, he was glad that his main target was not Sun Jia. This was because he had also heard that some rich girls were very depraved and had a messy private life. They would casually sleep with boys and take some videos and photos. Fan Jinja felt that this kind of woman was not safe even if she was given to him. It was too easy for her to cheat on him. In his opinion, Sun Jia was this type. Otherwise, how could her breasts be so big? Looking at Zhao Ying, she was much more simple. Although Sun Jia was a rich girl, Fan Jinja was absolutely sure that Zhao Ying was only born in an ordinary family. Therefore, at this moment, Fan Jinja didn't back down except for his face being a little ugly after seeing Sun Jia's Audi R8. He couldn't be compared to Sun Jia, but at least he could show off in front of Zhao Ying. Moreover, Sun Jia was just a rich second generation relying on her family. How could she be better than a man who ran a company outside like him? As a matter of fact, he was very popular with girls in school. It was just that Fan Jinja didn't like ordinary girls. Seeing Sun Jia and Zhao Ying get into the red Audi R8, Fan Jinja gritted his teeth, got into his car, and followed from behind. He wanted to follow Sun Jia and Zhao Ying and see where they were going to eat. Fan Jinja felt that he must be shameless to chase girls. This trick might not work on Sun Jia, but it would definitely work on Zhao Ying. Fan Jinja was not worried about not being able to catch up with Sun Jia. Although Sun Jia's car was a sports car, it was in the city. So what if it was a sports car? In such a congested traffic, even a flying car couldn't go very fast. Little Jia, he is following us. Zhao Ying frowned when she saw Fan Jinja's car following them from behind. Don't care about him. Let him do what he wants. Sun Jia said in her heart, if I wasn't afraid of scaring Zhao Ying, would have called Yang Ming directly. I believe that Fan Jinja's ending will be very satisfying. Oh. Zhao Ying nodded and stopped thinking about Fan Jinja. Instead, she thought about how to talk to Yang Ming. Zhao Ying, have you called your boyfriend? Asked Sun Jia. No. I'm a little embarrassed. Zhao Ying hesitated and said with a blush. It can't be. I have already made reservations here. You haven't called yet? Sun Jia was stunned. Zhao Ying, you should call him quickly. What time is it now? What if he has something to do? Wouldn't we have prepared for nothing today? We haven't contacted each other for a long time. Zhao Ying whispered, I don't know how to say it. What's there to not know? Just say that you want to ask him out for dinner. Sun Jia said, don't mention my matter first. Ask him out first. I see. Zhao Ying was still a little hesitant. Then I will send him a message first. You are such a bashful person. How can you do that? Sun Jia looked at Zhao Ying's appearance and couldn't help but smile bitterly. You are so timid. It is useless even if the man takes the initiative. Okay. Zhao Ying took out her mobile phone after Sun Jia said this. She typed a message and sent it out. Yang Ming was chatting with Bao Sanli at the Songjiang International Hotel about the development of the company when his mobile phone rang. Yang Ming took it out and glanced at it. It was a new message. Are you free tonight? Yang Ming was slightly stunned because the sender of this text message was actually Zhao Ying. Zhao Ying had not contacted him for a long time. Although he had contacted Zhao Ying on the internet, the Zhao Ying on the internet did not know that he was Yang Ming. Therefore, Yang Ming had some doubts about Zhao Ying suddenly sending him a text message. Logically, this is not Zhao Ying's character. With Zhao Ying's character, how could she take the initiative to contact me? I occasionally sent her a message when I was free for a few days, but she didn't reply. Let alone taking the initiative to send me a message and ask if I am free tonight. Could it be that Zhao Ying sent the wrong message? However, if she sent the wrong message, who did Zhao Ying send this message to? Could it be that Zhao Ying is going on a date with someone else? So, Zhao Ying has a new boyfriend? When he thought of this possibility, Yang Ming's heart was as uncomfortable as being scratched by a cat. Chapter 1596. Could it be that Zhao Ying really lost confidence in me and turned to the arms of others? Yang Ming and Bao Sanli's conversation also became absent-minded. Brother Yang? You said that the escort company. Bao Sanli looked at Yang Ming, who didn't seem to listen to him at all. He was somewhat absent-minded, so he stopped what he wanted to say and said, Brother Yang, what's wrong? Did something happen? Yang Ming immediately reacted and looked at Bao Sanli apologetically. It's nothing. I will send a text message. Okay, then Brother Yang, I will go to the hotel first. Bao Sanli took the initiative to stand up and evaded. You go ahead. Yang Ming waved his hand casually, but he was thinking about Zhao Ying's text message. Bao Sanli sighed slightly. He guessed that Yang Ming must have encountered something, but since Yang Ming didn't say it, Bao Sanli couldn't keep asking, so Bao Sanli chose to evade temporarily. If Yang Ming had something, he could call him at any time. Yang Ming hesitated for a while and sent a text message back to Zhao Ying. What's the matter? Yang Ming didn't say whether he had time or not. He just asked Zhao Ying what was the matter. Even if Zhao Ying sent the wrong message, they wouldn't be awkward. If it was really sent to him, Zhao Ying only needed to say what was the matter. If it wasn't sent to him, she just needed to say that there was nothing. It was much easier to accept than if he said that he had time or not, and Zhao Ying said that it was sent to the wrong message. After a while, Zhao Ying's text message was sent again. Let's have dinner together tonight? Asked Zhao Ying. Yang Ming looked at the phone in his hand and couldn't help but be stunned. Zhao Ying didn't send the wrong message. But it was really sent to me? She asked if I was free tonight. Let's have dinner together. Zhao Ying took the initiative to ask me out for dinner. Yang Ming wasn't used to it for a while. He really had some doubts. This isn't Zhao Ying's character. If it were other times, Yang Ming would definitely not hesitate to agree and then go and see what happened. But today, Yang Ming had already made an appointment with Sun Jia, and he had already booked a room in the hotel. If he missed the appointment, it wouldn't be fair to Sun Jia. Moreover, Yang Ming also missed Sun Jia. They hadn't been alone for a long time. After hesitating for a while, Yang Ming decided to reject Zhao Ying's invitation. Zhao Ying nervously waited for Yang Ming's reply. The text message tone of the phone rang. Zhao Ying quickly pressed the read button. After reading Yang Ming's reply, Zhao Ying was a little disappointed. However, there was a feeling of relief. If Yang Ming agreed today, then Zhao Ying wasn't mentally prepared. How could she face it? You sent it for so long. How is it? Asked Sun Jia. He said that he has something to do tonight. He can't come. Zhao Ying shrugged and said. Something to do? Sun Jia frowned after listening. Why didn't you make an appointment with him earlier? Now, at this time, he must have already booked something. Then forget it. Let's talk about it another day. You go and eat by yourself. I won't go, said Zhao Ying. How can that be? Sun Jia shook her head. How about this? You contact your boyfriend again. Tell him that he doesn't need to come to eat. He just needs to come over and show his face. He's not my boyfriend. Zhao Ying blushed. This isn't good. Isn't this tormenting him? If you don't torment him, how do you know if he cares about you? Sun Jia said, it's also a test and a test. Girls occasionally have to throw a little tantrum. This. Zhao Ying was hesitant by Sun Jie's words. She didn't know if she should follow Sun Jie's advice. Hurry up. We will reach the hotel in a while. Sun Jie said, you tell him that at the Songjiang International Hotel, he just needs to show his face. He doesn't need to stay too long. Then, okay. Zhao Ying finally nodded. She picked up the phone again and sent a text message to Yang Ming. In a while, can you come over? It won't take too long. You just need to show your face. I have a friend who wants to see you. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying's text message and suddenly felt a little dumbfounded. Zhao Ying's friend wants to see me? What does that mean? Could it be Wang Xiaoyan? Yang Ming was just thinking about it casually. This friend naturally wouldn't be Wang Xiaoyan. However, in any case, Zhao Ying rarely took the initiative to ask him, and it wouldn't take too long. Yang Ming didn't need to refuse, so he sent a text message. Where is it? I'll look at the time. If it's not too late, I'll go over. Zhao Ying saw Yang Ming's reply and sent a text message. It's at the Songjiang International Hotel. Songjiang International Hotel? Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying's text message and was stunned again. It can't be, right? Zhao Ying asked me to meet at the Songjiang International Hotel? In this case, there is nothing wrong with me going to Zhao Ying's place. Thinking of this, Yang Ming replied with a text message, well, let's contact each other by text message. Seeing Yang Ming's text message, Zhao Ying took a deep breath. She didn't know what to feel in her heart. Should I be excited or nervous? What's wrong? Did he agree? Sun Jie saw that Zhao Ying's expression was a bit strange, so she asked. He agreed. He will come over in a while, said Zhao Ying. That's good. I will help you test it in a while to see if he really likes you, said Sun Jie. Sun Jie said, however, from the fact that he promised you to come over, he should still care about you. Oh. Zhao Ying responded, but she didn't know how to answer. Sun Jie drove to the Songjiang International Hotel. Fan Jinja had been following behind. Seeing Sun Jie's car drive into the parking lot of the International Hotel, Fan Jinja was secretly shocked. This rich girl is really rich. I rarely come to this kind of high-class place. I will only come here if it is for business or important matters. However, for Zhao Ying today, Fan Jinja decided to enter even if it was a dragon's lair or a tiger's den, not to mention this expensive place. Sun Jie also saw Fan Jinja following in, but she didn't mind. Yang Ming had already booked a private room. At that time, could Fan Jinja still force his way into her private room? If he really forced his way in, then he would die miserably. Yang Ming would never let him go easily. Sun Jie found a parking space and parked the car. Fan Jinja also quickly found a place near Sun Jie and parked his car. It was not dinner time yet, so there were still a lot of parking spaces in the hotel. Sun Jie and Zhao Ying got out of the car and walked toward the entrance of the hotel. Fan Jinja followed behind them, ready to find a suitable opportunity to strike up a conversation. He didn't think that Sun Jie and Zhao Ying would go to the private room to eat. He thought that the two of them would definitely sit in the lobby and eat. After all, it was only the two of them, and it was impossible for them to have a private room. It was useless even if Sun Jie was a rich girl. Fan Jinja, who had done business here several times, knew very well that the number of private rooms in the International Hotel was very limited. If one didn't make an appointment in advance, it was impossible to book one. So, he was going to wait until Sun Jie and Zhao Ying were seated before going up to chat with them. He believed that Sun Jie couldn't refuse in public. Then, the rest would be logical. Ladies, welcome. After Sun Jie and Zhao Ying entered the hotel, the greeter on the side of the hotel said to them politely. May I ask if you are staying or dining? Do you have a reservation? A greeter asked. Private room 307, Sun Jie said to the greeter. Okay, please wait a moment. The greeter took Sun Jia and Zhao Ying to the computer at the front desk, entered the number of the private room, and then asked, "Is this reserved by a Mr. Yang?" "Yes." Sun Jia nodded. "Okay, please take the elevator and turn left. There are waiters on the 3rd floor. If you can't find it, you can ask them." The greeter made an inviting gesture to Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. Chapter 1597. In the elevator, Sun Jia called Yang Ming. "We're here. Are you in the private room?" Previously, Yang Ming only sent the private room's number to Sun Jia, so Sun Jia wasn't sure if Yang Ming was in the private room, so she called to confirm. "I'm in the private room. You can just come up directly," Yang Ming said. "Okay, let's go up," said Sun Jia. "Us? There are others?" Yang Ming was slightly stunned. "Didn't Sister Xiaoqing say that she couldn't come because of something?" "It's not Sister Xiaoqing. It's a classmate of mine," Sun Jia said with a smile. "Why? Am I not welcome?" "That's not it." Yang Ming smiled bitterly in his heart. Although he was not very welcome in his heart, it was rare for him to have time alone with Sun Jia, but Sun Jia brought others. "Then wait for us. Don't worry. She is also a beauty." Sun Jia smiled. "Okay." Yang Ming could only accept this reality. "Why? Is your boyfriend unhappy?" Zhao Ying waited for Sun Jia to hang up the phone before she asked, "Are you afraid that I will affect your life?" "How could it be?" He was just a little surprised. Sun Jia shook her head and said lightly. She naturally knew that Yang Ming would be helpless, but she couldn't tell these things to Zhao Ying, so as not to affect her mood. "Since my friend has something to do tonight, then today, I think we should forget about it," Zhao Ying said with some hesitation. "I will also ruin the atmosphere with you too." "How can that be?" Sun Jia quickly pulled Zhao Ying. "You can't go. Besides, didn't you say that your boyfriend will come when he has time?" "I don't know if he has time," Zhao Ying said with uncertainty. "Whether he has time or not, we will know in a while. Let's go. We are already here." Sun Jia pulled Zhao Ying out of the elevator and walked in the direction of room 307. Sun Jia was a frequent guest of the Songjiang International Hotel. Without the guidance of the waiter, Sun Jia was brought directly to the door of room 307. Dang dang dang. Sun Jia knocked on the door. "Who is it?" Yang Ming asked. "It's me," said Sun Jia. When Zhao Ying heard Yang Ming's voice, she was slightly stunned. Why did this voice sound so familiar? "Zhao Ying, what's wrong with you?" Sun Jia heard Zhao Ying's exclamation, so she turned around and asked. "It's nothing." Zhao Ying shook her head and smiled apologetically. Naturally, she didn't think that the person in the room was someone she knew. There were too many people with similar voices. While the two were talking, the door of the room was opened. Yang Ming walked out from inside and gave Sun Jia a warm hug. "Little Jia, you are here." "Ah!" Zhao Ying exclaimed and covered her mouth. She looked at the scene in front of her incredulously. From the moment Yang Ming walked out of the room, Zhao Ying was shocked. She felt a little surprised in her heart. Could it be that Yang Ming came here first? However, she thought about it again. Although she told Yang Ming that the place to eat was at the Songjiang International Hotel, she didn't tell him the number of the private room. He didn't know that she was eating in room 307. Even she just knew that it was room 307. So, how did Yang Ming find this place? Thinking of this, Zhao Ying's heart faintly had an ominous premonition. When Yang Ming called Sun Jia's name affectionately and hugged Sun Jia, Zhao Ying's mind buzzed. The ominous premonition before finally became a reality. Could it be that Sun Jia's boyfriend is Yang Ming? How could there be such a coincidence in the world? Zhao Ying's mind was blank. She was stunned for a while and didn't know what to do. Hearing Zhao Ying's exclamation, Yang Ming suddenly woke up. Previously, he didn't use his special ability to check the situation outside the room in advance. He didn't know who Sun Jie brought. Yang Ming didn't think much about it. Sun Jie just brought a classmate. If he used his special ability to check in advance, it would be a bit of a fuss. When Yang Ming opened the door, his attention was also focused on Sun Jie. He didn't pay attention to the person next to Sun Jie. When Zhao Ying exclaimed, although she covered her mouth in time, it was too late. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying and was suddenly dumbfounded. How could it be Zhao Ying? Sun Jie's classmate is Zhao Ying? Why haven't I heard of it before? This is troublesome, Yang Ming, this is my good sister, Zhao Ying. What's wrong with you? Why do you have this expression? Although Sun Jie also heard Zhao Ying's previous exclamation, she didn't take it seriously because she thought that Zhao Ying was shocked by Yang Ming suddenly hugging her. Good sister. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and repeated Sun Jie's words strangely. Why did he feel that Sun Jie seemed to have a double meaning? Yang Ming, what's wrong with you? Sun Jie frowned. Zhao Ying is a very good person. Can you not have this bitter face? Yang Ming didn't know how to explain it. Sun Jie obviously misunderstood him. She thought that his bitter expression was because he didn't welcome Zhao Ying. How would she know the real reason? Zhao Ying, don't mind it. My boyfriend is like this. He's not very good at expressing his emotions. He is usually silly. Sun Jie glared at Yang Ming and explained to Zhao Ying. Oh, it's nothing. It's fine. Zhao Ying smiled absent-mindedly. She felt a sense of loss in her heart. When she heard Sun Jie say that Yang Ming was her boyfriend, Zhao Ying didn't doubt it this time. It seemed that Sun Jie's boyfriend was Yang Ming. However, when did Yang Ming get together with Sun Jie? Why didn't I know about it? I didn't see Yang Ming bring Sun Jie back to the villa. Zhao Ying, you really don't mind it. Sun Jie was also puzzled in her heart. Yang Ming wasn't a stingy person. What happened today? It wasn't like she hadn't been with friends before. For example, Yang Ming was very affectionate when he was with her. He even recognized her as his sister. When he was with Zhao Ying, why was he so different? Logically, with Sun Jie's shrewdness, if she went deep into it, it wasn't difficult to guess that there must be something hidden. However, she didn't think about it in that way. In her opinion, it was to quickly adjust the relationship between Yang Ming and Zhao Ying. They would talk about other things after they entered the private room. I'm fine. I'm just a little uncomfortable. Zhao Ying smiled reluctantly. I'm a little dizzy. Why don't you guys eat first? I'll go back first. I won't be here, how can that be? Since you're here, why don't you sit for a while before leaving? Besides, you were fine just now. Why did you suddenly feel uncomfortable? Sun Jie was a little suspicious. She suddenly thought of something, so she said, Are you angry with Yang Ming? Yang Ming, why aren't you apologizing to Zhao Ying? Do you not want to go to bed tonight? Sun Jie reached out and pinched Yang Ming's waist. Yang Ming almost exclaimed. Fortunately, Yang Ming's ability to resist attacks was relatively strong, so he didn't make a fool of himself. Yang Ming was embarrassed for a while. After hearing Sun Jie's words, he was sweating in his heart. Isn't this asking for my life? It's okay. It's not his fault. I suddenly felt uncomfortable. Little Jie, it's nothing. Zhao Ying waved her hand to Sun Jie and refused her kindness. She couldn't help but feel bitter in her heart. Little Jie, Sister Ying, let's go in and talk. It's not convenient to talk in the corridor. Yang Ming gritted his teeth. Since it's my own business, then I'll solve it myself. From Zhao Ying's current reaction, she obviously didn't want Sun Jie to know that she and Yang Ming knew each other, so in order to avoid embarrassment, she used the excuse that she was not feeling well to leave. Yang Ming was very clear about this point. However, if Yang Ming let Zhao Ying leave, then was he still a man? He asked himself honestly. He absolutely couldn't do this kind of thing, and he didn't want to do it. Today, if he let Zhao Ying leave so lonely, how much damage would it bring to Zhao Ying's heart? It was conceivable. How would he face Zhao Ying in the future? Therefore, Yang Ming decided to take this responsibility. In any case, he had to give an explanation to Sun Jia and Zhao Ying today. When she heard Yang Ming call Zhao Ying Sister Ying, Sun Jia looked at Yang Ming with some doubts and looked at Zhao Ying again. She faintly guessed something in her heart. Could it be that it wasn't the first time the two people met? Is there any contradiction between them? When she heard Yang Ming call her Sister Ying in front of Sun Jia, Zhao Ying's heart softened, just in time. Let's see how Yang Ming explains it. Chapter 1598. Fan Jinja quickly followed Sun Jia and Zhao Ying into the lobby of the Songjiang International Hotel. He happened to see Sun Jia and Zhao Ying getting into the elevator, so he quickly found the hostess who was talking to Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. He asked, "I was with the two ladies just now. Where did they go?" Fan Jinja saw that Sun Jia and Zhao Ying did not go to the lobby on the first floor to eat but went upstairs. Obviously, they had booked a private room, so Fan Jinja was a little anxious. If he was one step slower, he would almost lose them. Together? Excuse me, you are. The hostess glanced at Fan Jinja with some doubts. She thought, if they were together, why didn't they come together? Why are you following behind them in a hurry? Is there a problem? Therefore, the hostess did not directly say where Sun Jia and Zhao Ying went. Instead, she asked about Fan Jinja's identity. "I'm their chauffeur. I just parked the car and ran in." Fan Jinja smiled at the receptionist and explained. "So you are their driver?" The hostess nodded in realization. "Since you are the driver, there is no problem." They went to room 307 on the third floor. Fan Jinja's explanation was very consistent with the current situation, so the hostess did not doubt it and directly told Fan Jinja where Sun Jia and Zhao Ying went. "Okay, thank you." Fan Jinja nodded and quickly went to another elevator. While he kept praying for the elevator to go faster, the elevator finally stopped on the third floor slowly. Fan Jinja rushed out of the elevator, looked around, and sighed in relief. He saw Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. He saw Sun Jia and Zhao Ying standing in front of a private room. He knocked on the door twice, and then the door opened. A man came out from inside and hugged Sun Jia. After a few words, they entered the private room. Because Fan Jinja was far away, he couldn't hear what they were saying. It turns out that little girl's son is here to meet her boyfriend. No wonder she is so stubborn. It turns out that she is already taken. Fan Jinja thought to himself. Fortunately, I didn't pursue Sun Jia. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any results. After seeing Sun Jia's sports car, Fan Jinja had a certain understanding of Sun Jia's family background. Seeing that Sun Jia's boyfriend could book a private room in the Songjiang International Hotel, he must be someone who matched Sun Jia's family background. Fan Jinja knew that he could not reach this level. I don't know why Sun Jia brought Zhao Ying on a date. Fan Jinja was annoyed with Sun Jia. Why did she bring a light bulb on a date? Isn't she looking for trouble? Could it be that there were other people in the room? Fan Jinja did not dare to knock on the door rashly. After all, she had already entered the private room. It was still possible to meet her by chance in the hall, but if he met her by chance in the private room, he would be suspected of stalking her. But later, you said that you were eating at the Songjiang International Hotel. I thought that since we were all together, I would go over and sit for a while. It wasn't difficult, so I agreed. Yang Ming continued, however, I really didn't expect that you were the beautiful female classmate that Shao Jia mentioned. Yang Ming. Don't say it. I guessed it. Zhao Ying was a little embarrassed when she heard Yang Ming say this in front of Sun Jie. But Shao Jie didn't know. I was also explaining it to her, said Yang Ming. I guessed it too. You don't have to explain. Sun Jie looked at Yang Ming and grinned. Our two good students are very smart. You're the only one who's so long-winded. I see. Yang Ming scratched his head. Fortunately, Yang Ming was thick-skinned, so it didn't matter. Then let's not talk about this. Sister Ying, Shao Jie, and I have known each other for a long time. We were together during the summer after the college entrance examination. Sun Jie heard that Yang Ming had brought forward the time of their relationship. She couldn't help but roll her eyes at Yang Ming, but she didn't argue. In fact, Yang Ming wasn't wrong. The first time they had sex was at that time. Shao Jie. Sister Ying and I actually knew each other earlier. Yang Ming explained to Sun Jie again. I know. She is your teacher, and you are her student. Sun Jie had heard Zhao Ying talk about the past. But it doesn't matter. Not now. You are now classmates in the same school. No one can find any problems. Zhao Ying didn't expect Sun Jie to say this. Her face was as red as a ripe apple. Shao Jie, don't talk nonsense. I didn't talk nonsense. Yang Ming, am I wrong? Sun Jie asked Yang Ming. Yes. What I want to say is this. Yang Ming nodded. Well, the misunderstanding and reason of this matter have been clarified. I hope it won't affect the friendship between you two. Chapter 1599. Affect our friendship? Sun Jie raised her eyebrows and looked at Yang Ming charmingly. She said, aren't you overestimating your influence? Will you affect our friendship? Zhao Ying, do you think so? Zhao Ying was embarrassed by Sun Jie's question, but then she couldn't help but be amused by Sun Jie's expression. She shook her head and whispered, of course not, haha, that's good. Yang Ming didn't care. He touched the back of his head and laughed. He couldn't help but secretly admire Sun Jie's not simple. A simple sentence resolved the awkwardness and anger present. It seemed that she was attacking Yang Ming, but she was forcing Zhao Ying to make a statement. Sun Jie's relaxed and magnanimous attitude also made it easy for Zhao Ying to resolve the knot in her heart, so that there would not be the slightest friendship crack between the two. Yang Ming secretly gave Sun Jie a look of approval. Sun Jie was very proud and raised her mouth. Yang Ming, it turns out that the heartless man that Zhao Ying said is you? Sun Jie turned the topic to Yang Ming, but it did not deviate from the purpose of coming here today. Yang Ming listened to Sun Jie's question and frowned slightly, but he did not answer. He couldn't understand the meaning of Sun Jie's words at this time. Does she support my relationship with Zhao Ying? Or does she not support it? Heartless man. I don't think so, right? Yang Ming smiled awkwardly. Don't you think so? Zhao Ying said that you are neither close nor far from her, but you still haven't expressed your opinion? Sun Jie asked. Little Jie, don't talk about him. In fact, it's my fault. Zhao Ying saw Sun Jie attacking Yang Ming. She was a little embarrassed and quickly explained. She didn't know why. After Zhao Ying just learned about Sun Jie and Yang Ming's matter, her heart was only slightly depressed, and then it returned to normal. She felt much better than when she saw Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan together. That time, she was really depressed. Could it be that he had learned his lesson from Wang Xiaoyan and was immune to it? Or perhaps, Sun Jie and Yang Ming were together earlier, which was beyond my reach, so she didn't feel much about this matter? Or is it because of Sun Jie's easygoing generosity that I can't feel bad about her? Maybe both. Although Zhao Ying's heart was in a mess now, she didn't feel as lost as before. You, with your personality, what progress can you make? Sun Jie looked at Zhao Ying helplessly. At this moment, you have to crusade against him with me. If you excuse him, what will you do in the future? Zhao Ying was speechless by Sun Jie's question. She stuttered for a long time, but she didn't know what to say. Her mind was in a mess. Today's matter was completely out of Zhao Ying's expectation. Obviously, she was the one who brought Yang Ming to Sun Jie, but it turned out that she wanted to steal Sun Jie's boyfriend. Although Sun Jie didn't say so, or she didn't think so, there was a sense of guilt in Zhao Ying's heart. She couldn't open her heart and talk about Yang Ming with Sun Jie. Zhao Ying was such a person who was overcautious. Her character made her choose to retreat again. Little Jie, thank you for saying these words, but my mind is in a mess now. I want to go back and calm down. Is that okay? You. Sun Jie looked at Zhao Ying with disappointment. For Zhao Ying, Sun Jie didn't think that she would become a potential threat. Even if it was Chen Mengyan, Sun Jie knew that she wouldn't be her opponent when it came to wisdom. She was just a little afraid of her position beside Yang Ming. Therefore, for Yang Ming's matters, Sun Jie mostly supported him. Zhao Ying lowered her head and didn't dare to look at Sun Jie and Yang Ming. For a time, the atmosphere in the private room became cold. At this moment, there was a knock on the door of the private room. Please come in, said Yang Ming. A waiter came in and asked respectfully, Mr. Yang, can I serve the dishes? Oh, it's okay. Yang Ming nodded and said. Okay, do you have any other requirements? Asked the waiter. No. Yang Ming waved his hand and gestured for the waiter to leave. The waiter smiled slightly and left the private room. When he turned around, he almost bumped into Fan Jinja, who was standing behind sneakily. Who are you? The waiter closed the door of the private room and asked Fan Jinja with a slightly unfriendly tone. Fan Jinja just saw a waiter enter Zhao Ying and Sun Jie's private room, so he quickly followed him. He wanted to see how many people were in the private room. He did see clearly that there were only 3 people sitting on the sofa in the private room. There was no one else, so Fan Jinja also made up his mind to enter the private room. Therefore, although Fan Jinja was facing the waiter's question, he was not nervous at all. I am in this private room. How can you walk? Don't you watch where you are going? The waiter was stunned by Fan Jinja's self-righteous tone. According to Fan Jinja's tone, it seemed that he was really a member of this private room. So, he apologized without confidence. Sorry, our restaurant has a rule that the waiter must walk backwards out of the private room. So, I didn't see you, sir. Forget it. Fan Jinja waved his hand, turned around and knocked on the door of the private room. When the waiter saw that Fan Jinja really knocked on the door of private room 307, he believed what he said and thought that Fan Jinja was a member of the private room. So, he turned around and left quickly. He was afraid that Fan Jinja would come back and investigate the matter just now and scold him again. What's the matter? Yang Ming thought it was the waiter just now, so there was a slight impatience in his tone. Hello. Fan Jinja pushed the door open and walked in. He nodded politely to Yang Ming. Are you Sun Jie's boyfriend? You are? Yang Ming looked at the person in confusion. He didn't know where he came from, and how he knew that he was Sun Jie's boyfriend. It was because he didn't even know this person in front of him. Hee, I am Sun Jie's postgraduate classmate, and also Zhao Ying's good friend. Fan Jinja deliberately said it ambiguously. He even winked at Yang Ming with a look that said, you know it. In Fan Jinja's opinion, since Yang Ming was Sun Jie's boyfriend, then Yang Ming could help him a little when he was pursuing Zhao Ying. It was also a tacit understanding and friendship between men. Good friend? Yang Ming frowned again. This time, Yang Ming understood Fan Jinja's meaning from his eyes. So, this guy is Zhao Ying's suitor? I didn't expect him to follow me here. Yeah. Fan Jinja naturally didn't notice the trace of displeasure in Yang Ming's eyes. He even smiled at Yang Ming flatteringly. Brother, you already have the beauty, but I still need to work hard. Hee. Sun Jie couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Fan Jinja's words were so funny. Isn't he asking for trouble by saying these words to Yang Ming? Sun Jie's mature charm when she smiled made Fan Jinja envious. However, he could only suppress the desire in his heart at this moment. He turned his head and didn't look at Sun Jie. He knew that if he kept staring at Sun Jie, then his ending would be very tragic. Sun Jie, this vixen, might take the opportunity to stir up trouble. Then, he would have no hope of pursuing Zhao Ying. Of course, he was also afraid that Yang Ming would have a bad impression of him. Now, Fan Jinja still wanted to have a good relationship with Yang Ming. Hello, this is my business card. Fan Jinja took out his business card and handed it to Yang Ming. Oh. Yang Ming took the business card and glanced at it. It said, Jinja Trading Company General Manager Fan Jinja, so it's President Jin. I've heard so much about you, but I don't have a business card. I'm sorry. I'm unemployed. It's okay, it's okay. Fan Jinja waved his hand again and again. He was even more convinced that Yang Ming was a rich second generation. However, after waving his hand for a long time, he reacted and said quickly, Ugh. I'm not President Jin. My surname is Fan. Oh. I read it wrong. I saw that it said Jinja Trading Company. I thought your surname was Jin. Yang Ming really read it wrong. He didn't deliberately make fun of Fan Jinja. There was no other reason. Yang Ming really looked down on Fan Jinja and didn't put him in his eyes. Well, President Fan then. Also, I've heard so much about you. Chapter 1600. It's fine, it's fine. Fan Jinja waved his hand again and again, but he was rolling his eyes in anger. Previously, when he called me President Jin, I have heard so much about you. Now, he's calling me so much about you. It's simply insulting me. However, in order to build a good relationship with Yang Ming, Fan Jinja braced himself and said, Excuse me, how should I address you? My name is Yang Ming, Yang Ming said faintly. I've heard so much about you. Fan Jinja imitated Yang Ming and said, So it's President Ming. Oh. How do you know that my nickname is President Ming? Yang Ming pretended to be surprised and stood up. He patted Fan Jinja's shoulder vigorously and shouted, My friends call me President Ming in private. Ugh, really? Fan Jinja almost vomited blood after being patted by Yang Ming. However, he didn't know whether Yang Ming did it deliberately or not. Looking at Yang Ming's enthusiastic look, Fan Jinja could only assume that Yang Ming was too happy. Yeah, you're amazing, Yang Ming laughed and continued to pat Fan Jinja's shoulder vigorously. I miss them so much. Miss them? Oh, I understand. They must be your former friends. Fan Jinja looked at Yang Ming with understanding. Yeah, I burn joss paper for them every year, Yang Ming said with a sigh. Burn joss paper. Ah. Burn joss paper? What do you mean? Fan Jinja was shocked and shocked. Nothing. It's just that the friends who called me President Ming are all dead. Yang Ming said sadly. Huh. Fan Jinja was like a duck. He stopped abruptly when he was about to speak. Dead? Yeah, I miss those people who called me President Ming, but I don't know why, but they're all dead, Yang Ming said, wiping his eyes sadly as if he was crying. This. Fan Jinja looked at Yang Ming and was a little overwhelmed. He didn't know if Yang Ming was telling the truth or not, but looking at Yang Ming's sad look, it seemed more like it was true. Fan Jinja really wanted to slap himself. Why is my mouth so cheap? Why did I say, President Ming, for no reason? Previously, Yang Ming might have called me President Jin unintentionally, but I did it on purpose. As a result, not only did I remind him of his sad past, but I also cursed myself. If all the people who called Yang Ming President Ming died, then wouldn't he be in danger too? Thinking of this, Fan Jinja shuddered and felt a chill. That. Mr. Yang, I'm sorry. I reminded you of your sad past. Fan Jinja said reproachfully, I shouldn't have called you President Ming, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I just heard you call me President Ming. I was so excited that I remembered the past. Yang Ming said, I like this name very much, cough cough, is that so? Fan Jinja was a little helpless. He didn't know if he should continue to call Yang Ming President Ming or not. Yeah, forget it. But you shouldn't call me that. After my friends died, I went to a fortune teller. The fortune teller said that there was a resentful spirit in me. That resentful spirit was called President Ming. Those who called me President Ming were cursed to death because they offended the resentful spirit. Yang Ming said seriously, so, for your safety, it's better for you not to call me President Ming, what? Fan Jinja was completely stunned. His heart clenched together. It can't be. Why am I so unlucky? A random name can cause a curse. Isn't this too unlucky? Ah. Oh no, President Fan. The resentful spirit just said in my ear that your thoughts just now offended him. He wants to curse you. Yang Ming exclaimed suddenly. Ah. The resentful spirit can talk to you? Fan Jinja was stunned. He looked at Yang Ming with some astonishment. After a while, his face became a little ugly and angry. Are you playing with me? How can the resentful spirit talk to you? I don't know. It's just a strange feeling. It seems that the resentful spirit told me your thoughts. He said that he wants to punish you. Yang Ming was not in a hurry to refute, but said seriously. Really? Fan Jinja frowned. Are you pretending with me? Why don't I believe it? Fan Jinja still believed Yang Ming's previous words about his friend's death, fortune-telling, and resentful spirit. Although he did not fully believe it, he still felt nervous and uneasy in his heart. Yang Ming said that the resentful spirit talked to him and said that his thoughts offended the resentful spirit. This was unacceptable to Fan Jinja. He was also a graduate student with a master's degree. How could he believe such nonsense? So, after Yang Ming said so, he was a little suspicious. He sneered in his heart. Yang Ming is really adding fuel to the fire. He probably resented me for calling him President Ming, in his heart, so he told me such a cold joke. If he did not say that the resentful spirit talked to him, then Fan Jinja would not be completely suspicious. It's true. Why would I lie to you? Yang Ming still had a serious look, without the slightest pretense. Then tell me, what did the resentful spirit say to you? Fan Jinja asked with a sneer. The resentful spirit told me that you were thinking, no way. Why am I so unlucky? A random name can cause a curse. Isn't that too unlucky? Said Yang Ming. This is impossible. As soon as Yang Ming's voice fell, Fan Jinja's face turned green. His eyes widened and were full of panic. This is impossible. How is this possible? How did you know that I was thinking like this? Yang Ming sneered in his heart. Of course, I know what you were thinking. This is what my special ability is for. Fan Jinja was nervous before, so Yang Ming used his special ability to probe his thoughts. Therefore, he could say it word for word to Fan Jinja. Of course, Yang Ming would not tell Fan Jinja about these things. I already told you. It was the vengeful spirit who told me. Yang Ming spread his hands as if it was the truth. This time, Fan Jinja had no choice but to believe in Yang Ming's words. Previously, he thought that Yang Ming was lying to him and fooling around with him. But now, he heard Yang Ming repeat his thoughts word for word. Fan Jinja did not have the slightest doubt. He did not think that Yang Ming could guess what he was thinking. Even if he could guess it, it was already amazing that he could guess the general idea. How could he not be wrong at all? What did the resentful spirit say? Fan Jinja felt a little weak. What did the resentful spirit want to do with me? The resentful spirit said that your thoughts offended him, so he wanted to curse you. Yang Ming said regretfully and sympathetically, I'm sorry, President Fan. You and I have just met, but I have already brought you a lot of trouble. I'm really sorry. Curse me. Fan Jinja thought of Yang Ming saying that his friends were dead. He suddenly rolled his eyes and almost fainted on the spot. Fortunately, his psychological quality was stronger. He resisted the fear in his heart and shouted at Yang Ming, "Then why didn't you remind me before? Why didn't you remind me? Why didn't you tell me that I couldn't call you President Ming? Why? Do I have a grudge against you? Why do you want to harm me?" As Fan Jinja spoke, he pounced on Yang Ming. He looked like he wanted to fight with Yang Ming. How would I know that you would call me President Ming?" Yang Ming said aggrievedly. He dodged slightly, and Fan Jinja missed and almost fell to the ground. Fan Jinja was speechless and sobered up a little. Indeed, Yang Ming never let me call him President Ming. I called him President Ming on a whim. Who can I blame for this? And, as I said, I'm really sorry about this. I can't do anything about it. Yang Ming sighed and said. But, what should I do now? Fan Jinja asked anxiously. I don't know. Yang Ming shook his head. Then tell me, how did your friends die? Fan Jinja roared. There are all kinds of ways to die. Some died of illness, some were hit by cars, some accidentally fell to their deaths while walking, some died of cancer after hitting the curb while riding a motorcycle. Yang Ming counted with his fingers. Chapter 1601. Huh? Fan Jinja was dumbfounded after hearing Yang Ming's words. Originally, he thought that as long as he understood how Yang Ming's friends died, he would be able to avoid these things carefully. However, Yang Ming's words made it sound like there were people who died in all kinds of ways. They died from illness, were hit by cars, accidentally fell to their deaths while walking, and even worse, there was someone who died from cancer after hitting the curb while riding a motorcycle. How could you get cancer when you hit the curb? This is not in line with scientific logic. But then again, things like resentful spirits were not scientific. Before today, Fan Jinja would not believe it. However, after hearing Yang Ming accurately say his thoughts today, Fan Jinja had to believe that those ghosts really existed in this world. So, Yang Ming means that it is useless no matter what I do? I can only stay at home and not go out? No, according to Yang Ming's words, it is possible to die from illness even if you stay at home and not go out. Then, am I dead meat? Thinking of this, Fan Jinja's sweat dripped down, and he trembled in fear. The resentful spirit just talked to me again. Yang Ming glanced at Fan Jinja playfully, then said seriously. What did the resentful spirit say? Fan Jinja asked quickly, wanting to see if there was a turning point. The resentful spirit just said that you don't have to think about those useless things. It is useless no matter what you do. You can't stay at home and not go out. You are dead meat, said Yang Ming. I don't want to die yet. I offended you unintentionally. Please don't come to me again. I really didn't mean it. Please be magnanimous and don't bother with a nobody like me. Fan Jinja screamed and knelt on the ground. His body bent down involuntarily, and he kept kowtowing on the ground. He kept muttering, "Vengeful spirit, please let me go. I don't want to die yet. I offended you unintentionally. Please don't come to me again. I really didn't mean it." Fan Jinja had snot and tears. He was as miserable as he could be. His head was almost smoking from kowtowing. Fan Jinja was still a little skeptical about the resentful spirit before, but when Yang Ming accurately said his inner thoughts for the second time, Fan Jinja no longer doubted it. How could there be such a coincidence in the world? If he could guess it once, how could he guess it a second time? Besides, he had no grievances with Yang Ming. Even if there was a conflict between the two sides, it was just a small verbal joke. He did not believe that Yang Ming was such a narrow-minded person to make such a farce to scare him. So, he believed it. He really believed in the rumor of the resentful spirit. There were so many things that could not be explained by science. So many things. So many things could not be explained by science. Fan Jinja did not care about his manners anymore. In front of Zhao Ying, it was fine to lose face. Nothing was more important than his life. If he lost his life, what was the use of having a beauty? Fan Jinja kept kowtowing once he knelt. His head was bleeding and bruised. Then, he carefully raised his head. Mr. Yang, what did the resentful spirit say now? Did he say that he would let me go after seeing me sincerely admit my mistake? The resentful spirit didn't say anything. Yang Ming spread his hands and said with sympathy and helplessness. Ah. He didn't say anything? Fan Jinja was dumbfounded. I worked so hard to win the resentful spirit's understanding and sympathy. Why didn't the resentful spirit say a word? Yeah. Yang Ming nodded. Then, can you plead with the resentful spirit? Fan Jinja asked carefully. President Fan, you think too highly of me, right? What kind of existence is the resentful spirit? How can I possibly communicate with him? If he didn't possess me, maybe he wouldn't even take the initiative to talk to me. Every time he takes the initiative to look for me, I can't find him. Yang Ming sighed and said. Ah, I see. Fan Jinja was completely dumbfounded this time. He didn't expect that he would be so unlucky today. Just one wrong word and he caused such a big trouble. President Fan, in fact, I sympathize with you, but I can't do anything about it. Just like those people who used to accompany me. When I saw them offend the resentful spirit, I really wanted to help them, but I think you know this kind of powerlessness. I know they are going to die, but I can't do anything. Yang Ming closed his eyes in pain. Do you understand this feeling? I understand. Fan Jinja said sadly. Since you understand, then it's good. Don't worry. If you really have an accident, I will burn a piece of paper for you every year, Yang Ming said with a straight face. I know. You don't have to say any more. Fan Jinja didn't bother to please Zhao Ying. He stood up in a daze and walked out of the private room. Yang Ming changed his sad expression from before and became extremely calm. He walked over and closed the door of the private room. Then, he walked back casually, sat on the sofa, and shrugged. The annoying guy is finally gone. He ruined my mood. Ha. Sun Jie finally couldn't help but laugh. At first, it was a normal laugh. However, after laughing for a while, Sun Jie laughed until tears came out. I have never seen such a stupid person who can be scared by the resentful spirit. I'm really speechless. Zhao Ying was still shy and gloomy at first. At this moment, she couldn't help but be affected by Sun Jie's emotions and laughed along with her. Is it that funny? Yang Ming looked at the two beauties who were laughing and was a little depressed. How am I making up a lie? There is a technical content in it, okay? In order to scare this Fan Jinja, I used my special ability twice. However, I'm afraid that only Fan Jinja can understand the mystery behind it. Sun Jie and Zhao Ying didn't know that the reason why Fan Jinja was so scared was that Yang Ming had guessed what he was thinking. They thought that Fan Jinja was a timid person. Why isn't it funny? I didn't expect Fan Jinja to be so timid. Sun Jie laughed for a long time and finally finished laughing. She sighed and said, Zhao Ying, this kind of man is too insecure. When you are in danger, he will be the first to run away. He is faster than a rabbit. Originally, I wanted you to consider it, but now it seems that you should forget about it. It was fine if Sun Jie didn't say it. Once she said it, it brought up the past in Zhao Ying's heart. She remembered that time when she and Yang Ming encountered robbers. She thought about how Yang Ming stood in front of her without hesitation. When it came to a sense of security, the first person that Zhao Ying thought of was Yang Ming. As for Fan Jinja, Zhao Ying didn't even consider it. Thinking of all the things in the past, Zhao Ying couldn't help but show a fascinated look on her face. Zhao Ying sighed softly. The past is the past after all. I'm a little tired. I want to go back and rest, said Zhao Ying. Ah. You haven't started eating yet, and you want to leave? Sun Jia was stunned and immediately understood. Zhao Ying must be hiding from something. She may feel that the current situation is a bit awkward and wants to go home and have some peace. I'm not eating. You guys eat. Zhao Ying's tone was still soft, but there was an imposing manner in her words that couldn't be refused. Well, then we will send you back first. Yang Ming also knew that today was not a good time to talk. With Sun Jia present, Zhao Ying couldn't let go. Although she already knew her relationship with Sun Jia was not Shaoqing. Although she and Sun Jia were good friends, their relationship with Shaoqing and Sun Jia were two completely different natures. It was not a bad thing to let Zhao Ying have some peace first. When it was quiet, she would talk to Zhao Ying alone and try to untie her knot. No need. I can go back by myself. Zhao Ying waved her hand. It's not too late now. There are so many taxis at the entrance of the hotel. You don't have to worry. Seeing that Zhao Ying was so determined, Yang Ming had no choice but to say, then I will send you downstairs. Is that okay? This time, Zhao Ying couldn't refuse and could only nod. Little Jia, you wait for me in the private room. I will go down and send Sister Ying. Yang Ming stood up and put on his coat. Calling me Little Jia, calling me Zhao Ying, Sister Ying, Yang Ming, doesn't this seem a bit wrong? Sun Jia heard Yang Ming's confusing address. She glanced at him and hinted, I am about the same age as Zhao Ying. Ugh, then I will call you Little Ying in the future? Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying and asked. Don't. Little Ying doesn't sound good. Zhao Ying glanced at Sun Jia helplessly, blaming her for being talkative. Yang Ming and I haven't reached that kind of relationship. Calling her Sister Ying is naturally not wrong. Sun Jia is Yang Ming's girlfriend. Although she is older than Yang Ming, it is not a problem to call her Little Jia. It doesn't matter what the couple calls each other. Yang Ming smiled awkwardly and went out of the private room with Zhao Ying. Chapter 1602. Then, should I still call you Sister Ying? In the elevator, Yang Ming asked Zhao Ying tentatively. Zhao Ying responded softly. Yang Ming wanted to find some more topics to talk about, but he found that Zhao Ying was not in a good mood today. After thinking about it, he decided to give up. In this case, if he forced himself to say something meaningless, it would be counterproductive and make everyone feel awkward. It was better to wait until Zhao Ying woke up, then talk about it. After leaving the hotel, Yang Ming saw Fan Jinja standing in the hotel parking lot at a glance. He couldn't help but be amused. Beside Fan Jinja was parked his Honda Accord, and in front of him was a Toyota Camry. Fan Jinja's front was bumped into the back of the Camry. Both cars were seriously damaged. It seemed that Fan Jinja was in a trance after coming out of the hotel. He was not concentrating while driving, so he bumped into the car in front of him. Zhao Ying obviously also saw Fan Jinja in the parking lot, but she didn't seem to be interested in Fan Jinja. She just glanced at him faintly, then withdrew her gaze and ignored him. Seeing that Zhao Ying was not interested, Yang Ming did not stay any longer. Instead, he walked with Zhao Ying to the taxi waiting area on the side. Huh. Seeing one of the taxis, Yang Ming's eyes couldn't help but light up. Seeing this car, Yang Ming pulled Zhao Ying and walked over quickly. Why are you still walking? Have we all passed by? Zhao Ying pointed to the taxi parked in the first position and asked Yang Ming. We met an acquaintance. Let's take his car, Yang Ming said to Zhao Ying, this way, I can rest assured. Oh. Zhao Ying nodded. The taxi driver who was waiting in the first position was also a little puzzled. These two people did not get into his car, but instead walked towards the car behind him. What was the meaning of this? The driver was a little depressed when he saw Yang Ming greet the driver of the taxi behind. He suddenly realized that they knew each other. There was nothing he could do. Brother Kun. Yang Ming walked over, opened the door of the taxi, and shouted inside. Yang Ming? Why are you here? Sun Kun also raised his head in surprise. He sighed inwardly at how small the world was. He actually encountered this twice in one day. Hee, I'm eating here. Yang Ming pointed at the international hotel behind him and said, Brother Kun, can I trouble you with something? Can you help me send my friend home? That's not a problem. Sun Kun agreed without even thinking. Your friend, huh? When Sun Kun's gaze fell on Zhao Ying, he couldn't help but be stunned. When he first met Yang Ming had this girl with him. At that time, Yang Ming also performed a good play of a hero saving a beauty. At that time, Sun Kun thought that this girl was Yang Ming's boyfriend. But later, Yang Ming did not bring this girl out again, and Sun Kun never saw Zhao Ying again. So, after that, he forgot about it. Especially after seeing Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun, Sun Kun thought that he misunderstood. Zhao Ying was not Yang Ming's boyfriend. But today, when he saw Zhao Ying again, Sun Kun couldn't help but be stunned. When he saw Yang Ming holding Zhao Ying's hand again, he was even more suspicious. Is this also Yang Ming's girlfriend? Then, this little brother of mine is too powerful, right? Sister Ying, Master Sun Kun, Brother Kun, do you still remember? Yang Ming pointed at Sun Kun and asked Zhao Ying. Ah. You are the taxi driver from the past. Zhao Ying felt that Sun Kun was a bit familiar before. When she heard Yang Ming's question, the original situation flashed in her mind. She remembered that Sun Kun was the taxi driver who teased her and Yang Ming that they were a couple. Thinking of this, Zhao Ying couldn't help but blush. She followed Yang Ming and called, Brother Kun. Huh, I didn't expect to meet an acquaintance today. Then, let's get in the car. Sun Kun said with a smile. Yang Ming opened the door of the taxi and let Zhao Ying get in the car. They realized that they were still holding each other's hands. They couldn't help but feel embarrassed, so they quickly let go. Previously, Yang Ming took Zhao Ying to find Sun Kun. It was just an instinctive action. In order to let Zhao Ying follow behind him, he subconsciously held Zhao Ying's hand. As for Zhao Ying, she didn't think much at the beginning. Instead, she was naturally held by Yang Ming. She didn't feel anything wrong. Until now, she was shy. Brother Kun, help me send Sister Ying home. I have to go back to the hotel. Yang Ming said to Sun Kun. You don't want to get in the car together? That's not a problem. Although Sun Kun felt a little strange, he nodded and agreed. Where are we going? Huashang District. Yang Ming said, Sister Ying, I am relieved that Brother Kun is sending you. You can go back. Zhao Ying nodded to Yang Ming. Although her current mood was somewhat indescribable, Zhao Ying couldn't show anything with Sun Kun next to her. Seeing Sun Kun's car leaving with Zhao Ying, Yang Ming sighed and turned to walk toward the hotel door. With Sun Kun sending Zhao Ying home, Yang Ming wasn't worried that anything would happen to Zhao Ying. He looked up in the direction of Fan Jinja and found that he was still waiting there anxiously. He might be waiting for the traffic police to deal with it or for the insurance company. Back in the private room, Yang Ming and Sun Jia were not in a good mood because of the previous incident with Zhao Ying. After eating quickly, Yang Ming took Sun Jia to his attic villa on the top floor of the hotel. As soon as the door was closed, Sun Jia threw herself on Yang Ming. There was no need for too many words. The two people hugged each other tacitly as if they were venting their previous depression. Listening to the sound of Sun Jia taking a shower in the bathroom, Yang Ming smiled bitterly in his heart. Among his women, Sun Jia and Lan Ling were the most passionate in that aspect. If he hadn't gone through special assassin training and had extraordinary physical strength, he probably wouldn't have been able to handle it if it were someone else. Looking at the wall clock in the hall, it was already 1:00 in the middle of the night. Sun Jia and I actually spent 5 or 6 hours, picking up the gift that Suya gave him before she left. Yang Ming hesitated for a moment. He didn't open it but put it back in its original position. This gift was given to him by Suya in the identity of the superstar Suya. There might be something that could hint at Suya's identity. However, Yang Ming already knew the identity of Suya now. This gift had become not very important. In order not to disappoint himself, Yang Ming decided not to open it. He would just keep it as it was. It could be regarded as a romantic memory of himself and the superstar Shuya. Sometimes, there were some things that were too obvious, which was not beautiful. Yang Ming, why are you dawdling? Why don't you come over and help me scrub my back? Sun Jie's reproachful voice came from the bathroom. Do you not want to get on my bed at night? Yang Ming listened to Sun Jie's words. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's me. If it were another person, they would be eager to get on your bed now. Who can stand this high-intensity exercise for several hours in a row? Yang Ming felt that Sun Jia had been suppressing her lust for a long time, and she vented it all in one night. I'm coming. However, Yang Ming still stood up and walked in the direction of the bathroom. Since I have chosen such a path, then I will let myself be tired and happy in the future. Also, by the way, bring me the facial cleanser in my bag. Sun Jia added another sentence. Oh. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Sun Jia, a strong woman, was also an ordinary person at home. Chapter 1603. Something big happened in Songjiang today. One of the Mingjiang escort company's cash transport vehicles disappeared for no reason. If it was just an ordinary cash transport vehicle, it wouldn't cause such a commotion. However, this missing vehicle was transporting hundreds of millions of yuan in cash. According to the regulations of the escort company and the bank, each escort vehicle could not transport more than 10 million yuan in cash at a time. However, this escort vehicle was transporting hundreds of millions of yuan in cash. If this escort vehicle had no problems and completed its mission safely, it might not cause such a commotion, and no one would pay attention to it. However, this escort vehicle had disappeared. As a result, everyone's attention was immediately attracted to this matter. The topic on the internet had also shifted to this matter. At first, some people suspected that the escort vehicle was hijacked. Later, some people speculated that there was a mole in the escort company. In an instant, the public opinion had become one-sided. News articles such as Mingjiang Escort Company has serious management problems, Mingjiang Escort Company embezzles itself, Mingjiang Escort Company's vice captain embezzles hundreds of millions, and so on instantly emerged. Many netizens began to question why there was only one vehicle escorting so much cash. Was this premeditated? This could reflect that the management of the Mingjiang Company was chaotic and that there were internal problems. However, the vice captain of the escort team embezzled itself. This could more or less show that the overall quality of the Mingjiang Escort Company's team was low. They appointed people based on favoritism and did not employ the right people. In short, the reputation of the Mingjiang Escort Company fell to the bottom in an instant. There were more and more voices of doubt in society. They thought that a security company that had just been established for less than a year had entered the bank escort business. Wasn't this a bit too hasty? Was there some shady business going on behind the scenes? Jing Xiaolu was called over by Lu Huamei from the school cafeteria. Jing Xiaolu almost fainted on the spot when she heard that one of the escort company's cash transport vehicles had disappeared for no reason. 100 million yuan. How much money is that? Jing Xiaolu thought, it's so much money. If it's really gone, how many lifetimes will it take for me to pay it all back? Jing Xiaolu almost got into an accident on the way to the company. She overtook all the cars to the company and went straight to Lu Huamei's office. The atmosphere in the company was very gloomy. It seemed that everyone had received the bad news. In the eyes of the employees of these companies, if the 100 million yuan could not be recovered, this newly established escort company would definitely be dragged down by the debt. Sister Huame. Jing Xiaolu didn't bother to knock on the door. She directly pushed open the door to Lu Huame's office and rushed in. Sister Huame, have you contacted Lu Xiaolei? Xiaolu, you're here. Lu Huame forced a smile and shook her head. No, I've tried all the contact methods. This person seems to have vanished from the face of the earth. Did you call the police? Jing Xiaolu felt a chill in her heart when she heard Lu Huame's words. It seems that Lu Xiaolei has most likely absconded with the money. I've already reported it, but there's no news yet. Lu Huame sighed. She never thought that the Mingjiang escort company that she was in charge of would have such a huge mistake. Although according to the contract, the Songjiang Mingyang Security Company played the leading role in the operation, and she was only an assistant, this incident had already caused a fatal blow to her. If such a huge mistake occurred in the small company that she was in charge of, the consequences would be obvious if it were a large group. As a result, she had less hope of competing for the position of the group's leader. When the time came, her cousin Lu Jinan would definitely not let it go easily. At this moment, Lu Jinan was sitting in the office very proudly. He held a cup of fragrant tea in his hand and said to Lu Jifei, who was standing at the side, "Have you arranged for Lu Xiaolei?" "It's already arranged. He's going to be smuggled into Russia from Bianhai City," Lu Jifei said. "I have a friend who mingles with the underworld in Russia. He's there to help, and don't make any mistakes." Lu Jinan nodded. "Jifei, you're my confidant. You should know that this time, I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. So, you can't let anything go wrong. Don't worry, Brother Nan. If you have a problem, I can't run away either," Lu Jifei said. "So, no matter what, I will arrange it properly. However, there's something that I don't know if I should say. Jifei, I already said that you're my confidant. What are you hiding from me?" Lu Jinan frowned and said somewhat reproachfully. "Then, Brother Nan, I'll say it. Don't be angry." Lu Jifei hesitated and said, "Actually, there's no such thing as an airtight wall in this world. There's only one way to prevent future troubles." "One way? What do you mean?" Lu Jinan was slightly stunned, but then his expression changed slightly. "Jifei, do you mean, that's right?" Lu Jifei saw that Lu Jinan also thought of this, so he nodded and said, "Only the dead will not speak. Only you and I will know this secret. You and I are grasshoppers on the same rope. No one will seek their own death. But Lu Xiaolei is different. I can't trust this person, but this is murder. That's against the law." Although Lu Jinan was a bit sinister, he had not yet developed a ruthless heart. When he heard that Lu Jifei wanted to silence him, he was immediately a little scared. "Brother Nan, those who achieve great things don't bother about trifles." Lu Jifei said, "There is a saying that a great man must be ruthless. In order to achieve great things, Brother Nan, you can't leave behind a ticking time bomb." "But I haven't done anything to kill people yet." Lu Jinan hesitated. Planning to rob an escort vehicle is also a capital offense. "Brother Nan, you have to think carefully," Lu Jifei said anxiously. "But these two natures are different." Lu Jinan was still a little hesitant. "Brother Nan, think about it. Once Lu Xiaolei can't hold back and returns to China in the future, you and I will have to spend the rest of our lives in prison." Lu Jifei said, "Moreover, you don't have to worry about this matter, Brother Nan. As long as you agree, I will take care of everything. Who can find out if you kill someone on the high seas?" "This, okay." Lu Jinan hesitated and finally nodded. Lu Jifei was right. A great man must be ruthless. If this matter was spread out, it would be a fatal blow to him. "Brother Nan, I will arrange it now." Lu Jifei's eyes flashed with a hint of ruthlessness. "Brother Pu, the boss gave us new instructions. We will do something on the ship when we sneak in. Your people won't meddle in other people's business, right?" A bald man said as he handed a stack of cash to the man called Brother Pooh. Brother Pooh weighed the banknotes in his hand, glanced at the bald man, and nodded slowly. I will say hello to my men. I know that Brother Pooh is the most reasonable. When the bald man saw that Brother Pooh had accepted the money, he was relieved and showed a satisfied smile on his face. This bald man was Li Zhan, Lu Jifei's loyal lackey. He was a ruthless person. He used to be an outlaw. Later, he met Lu Jifei and saw his opportunity. He knew very well that no matter how ruthless he was in society, he was still insignificant. He had no backing or background. Everything was just floating clouds. Only by relying on a strong backer could he live a good life and achieve success in the future. Therefore, Li Zhan decisively turned to Lu Jifei. Although he looked down on Lu Jifei in his heart, this was also the highest level of people that Li Zhan could come into contact with. Li Zhan could not come into contact with any more powerful people. When Lu Jifei successfully curried favor with Lu Zhanan and became Lu Zhanan's confidant, Li Zhan realized that he really had a good eye. He did not follow the wrong person. Once Lu Zhanan was promoted, Lu Jifei would be a meritorious person, and his identity would also rise. Although Li Zhan knew that there were more benefits to following Lu Zhanan than Lu Jifei, he was a smart person and not a fool. He did not think that Lu Zhanan would use him again after he changed sides. Compared to Lu Jifei, he had no place in Lu Zhanan's heart. If Lu Jifei still held a grudge against him and said a few bad words in front of Lu Zhanan, who Lu Zhanan would believe, the result could be imagined. Therefore, Li Zhan did not expect anything else. It was already good enough to follow Lu Jifei and mingle well. This time, personally sending Lu Xiaolei to Russia was the time for him to show his loyalty to Lu Jifei and Lu Zhanan. The suggestion to kill Lu Xiaolei was also made by him to Lu Jifei. Otherwise, with Lu Jifei's temperament, he could not be so ruthless and decisive. Chapter 1604. Lu Xiaolei, you are just a chess piece. From the day you walked into Lu Zhanan's office, you were destined to end up like this. Li Zhan looked at Lu Xiaolei's longing face and sneered in his heart. Brotherly, I have packed up. When will I board the ship? Lu Xiaolei looked at his watch and was a little nervous. After all, he had committed such a big case. If he was caught, it would be a capital offense. Just wait for Brother Pooh's ship. Don't worry. You will definitely be able to leave today, Li Zhan said faintly. That. Brother Lu promised me the money before. Is there a problem? Lu Xiaolei asked with some concern. Don't worry. You won't be short. It will be transferred to your account in Russia in batches through wire transfer. Li Zhan said, Brother Lu also wants you to help keep the secret. He won't burn the bridge after crossing it. That's good. I was just asking. Lu Xiaolei was relieved after hearing Li Zhan's words. Li Zhan also made sense. Lu Zhanan and Lu Jifei had to keep it a secret. He was not afraid that they would burn the bridge after crossing it. If they didn't fulfill their promise, then he would take them down with him even if he had to risk the death penalty. The ship is here. Let's go. Li Zhan glanced at the text message on his phone, then raised his head and walked in the direction of the port. Lu Xiaolei quickly followed behind. From now on, he would be wandering in a foreign land. Lu Xiaolei did not regret what he had done. He could leave a sum of money for his younger brother and cure his old father's illness. What was his sacrifice? Moreover, he was not very miserable now. At least he had a lot of money in his hands. After arriving in Russia, he could live a good life under the protection of the Chinese gangs. Thinking of this, the depression in Lu Xiaolei's heart dissipated a little. However, he did not know that from the moment he boarded the ship, his legs would never be able to set foot on land again. Everything went well. Lu Jifei received a text message from Li Zhan. He was relieved and said to Lu Zhanan, Brother Nan, Li Zhan has killed Lu Xiaolei. Very good. Lu Jianan was also relieved. No one else knows, right? At that time, there was only one of Snakehead's men in charge of smuggling in Bianhai City. Lu Jifei said, such a person will not meddle in other people's business. That's good. Lu Jianan nodded and picked up the phone. He was ready to scold his sister, Lu Huamei. Now that all future troubles had been resolved, it was time for him to show off his skills. Lu Jianan dialed Lu Huamei's phone. Lu Huamei frowned when she saw the caller ID on the phone. She didn't want to answer this call. Lu Jianan was calling at this moment. Lu Huamei could guess what Lu Jianan wanted to do even if she used her toes to think. However, Lu Huamei still picked up the phone in the end. She was not a person who was afraid of trouble. A person who only knew how to avoid responsibility when something happened would never achieve great things. Hello, big brother. Lu Huamei picked up the phone. Huamei, I heard that something happened to you. What's going on? Grandpa has already asked. Lu Jianan's first sentence was to bring up Lu Jiangyan. Big brother, you are quite well informed, aren't you? Lu Huamei replied coldly. She already knew that Lu Jianan was up to no good, but she didn't expect him to be so impatient. He jumped out as soon as the phone was connected. Ha! Lu Jianan laughed. The internet is already abuzz with the news. I'm not considered well informed. The one-sided public opinion on the internet that was unfavorable to the Mingjiang escort company was basically published by Lu Jifei's people. How could Lu Jianan not know? Is that so? Lu Huamei asked faintly. Huamei, it's not that big brother is scolding you. Previously, when Lu Xiaolei was making a ruckus at the headquarters, I told you in advance that this person might have some problems in his heart. I told you to pay more attention to him. Look, you didn't care at that time. Now, you're finally in trouble, right? Lu Jianan said with a sigh. Huamei, you are still too young. Lu Jianan was very proud now. His foresight had become a bargaining chip for him to climb up the ranks. Lu Huamei still made such a mistake even after his warning. It was conceivable that Lu Jiangyan would not consider letting her take over his position no matter how much he doted on her. After all, the fate of the group was not a joke. Even if Lu Huamei was capable, it was not enough for the company's helm to be capable. It was not a problem for capable people to start a business, but sometimes, keeping the business was more important than starting a business. If she wanted to keep the business, then it seemed that Lu Huamei was definitely not the best candidate now. Big brother, you didn't call at this time just to say this, right? If so, then I'm sorry. I'm very busy here. I don't have time to chat with you. Lu Huamei's tone became stiff. That's not it. Huamei, listen to your big brother's advice. You are still too inexperienced now. I will suggest to Grandpa to let you continue to study in school during the next board meeting. You can come back to take over the company's affairs when you are truly successful in your studies. Lu Jianan didn't talk nonsense with Lu Huamei anymore. Since Lu Huamei refused a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, Lu Jianan was ready to shed all pretense of cordiality. Such a day would come sooner or later anyway. Sister Huamei, who called? Why are you so angry? Seeing that Lu Huamei was so angry that her chest was heaving up and down, Jing Xiaolu asked with concern. It's nothing. It's my big brother. Lu Huamei shook her head. He wanted to use this matter to make things difficult for me during the board meeting. It seems that he finally couldn't hold it in anymore. It's like this. Jing Xiaolu knew that this was Lu Huamei's family matter. She couldn't butt in. My big brother just mentioned Lu Xiaolei again. He said that he reminded me before to pay attention to Lu Xiaolei. Now that something really happened to Lu Xiaolei, it confirms his foresight. This time, sigh. Lu Huamei felt physically and mentally exhausted. Lu Huamei was exiled to Songjiang, but Lu Jianan still didn't relax his vigilance against her. He wouldn't let go of any opportunity to attack her. Lu Xiaolei. Jing Xiaolu frowned. Sister Huamei, I suddenly have a strange feeling when you say that. What feeling? Lu Huamei asked. Sister Huamei, do you think that there is some unspeakable secret between Lu Xiaolei and Lu Jinan? Jing Xiaolu pondered for a while and said, I always feel that there is something fishy about this matter. There is an indescribable feeling. Oh. Lu Huamei was slightly stunned. Xiaolu, do you mean that my big brother is involved in Lu Xiaolei's matter? I don't know if Lu Jinan is involved or not, and I can't be sure. But I think that Lu Jinan seems to know that Lu Xiaolei wanted to pocket the banknotes in the escort car in advance. Jing Xiaolu said, because I remember the call he gave you before to ask you to pay attention to Lu Xiaolei. According to the Lu Jinan we know, he shouldn't be so kind. So I always feel that there is something fishy about this matter. Xiaolu, now that you mention it, I also have this feeling. Could it be that my big brother really knows about Lu Xiaolei's matter? Lu Huamei's brows gradually furrowed. If Jing Xiaolu's guess is true, then Lu Huamei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Her big brother actually hid such a big thing in order to deal with her. I'm not sure if it's true or not now. Let's wait and see. Jing Xiaolu sighed and pointed at the window. Let's solve the problem in front of us. There are already reporters crowding the company downstairs. They want us to come out for an interview to find out the truth. Chapter 1605. When he woke up in the morning, Yang Ming didn't know about the incident at the escort company. However, even if Yang Ming knew about it, he wouldn't be too anxious. From Yang Ming's point of view, since something happened, he would try his best to solve it. It wasn't a big deal. Sun Jia hadn't woken up yet. It was obvious that she was exhausted last night. Yang Ming's biological clock had been formed. After waking up in the morning, he did a simple training plan. Then, he called for a cup of soy milk and opened his laptop to surf the internet. This rare leisure time had not been available for a long time. During this period, Yang Ming felt that he seemed to have something to do every day. He was busy for a few months. Yang Ming opened QQ and unexpectedly found that wild female teacher, which was also Zhao Ying's avatar, was lit up. Zhao Ying was usually invisible, but because she had a good relationship with There's No True Love in This World, she set up invisible but visible. Why are you online so early in the morning? Yang Ming clicked on wild female teacher's avatar and sent a smiley face emoji. It didn't take long for wild female teacher to reply, but what she sent was a sleepy emoji. Why are you online so early? Don't you have class today? Asked Yang Ming. Wild female teacher replied quickly, aren't you early too? Besides, it's already 8:00. It's not early. It seems that you are online even earlier, said Yang Ming. I didn't sleep well last night. What's the point of early? Wild female teacher complained and sent a bomb emoji. Didn't sleep? It can't be. Yang Ming felt awkward. He thought about Zhao Ying's situation last night. It was possible that she didn't sleep well last night. However, he and Sun Jiexiao had a good time last night. It didn't make sense. It made Yang Ming feel bad. Why not? Well, let's not talk about this. How about playing Fight the Landlord with me for a while? Said wild female teacher. Okay. Yang Ming didn't expect Zhao Ying to have the mood to play Fight the Landlord at this time. However, since she wanted to play, he would play with her. Songjiang Netcom District 4, Room 12. Hurry up. Said wild female teacher. Coming. Yang Ming opened the game client and logged in. After a while, an idiot named Sharp Knife took the initiative to sit at the table where Yang Ming and Zhao Ying were. The game started. Wild female teacher didn't bid. Sharp female teacher foolishly bid. Yang Ming received a message from wild female teacher. I can definitely win this round. If you have any bombs, quickly throw them out. Oh. Yang Ming replied. After sharp female teacher threw out a 3, Yang Ming threw out a set of 4 sevens bombs. Sharp female teacher was stunned. After a long time, she sent a shocked expression. She thought to herself, how can you throw out your cards like this? It's simply not following the rules. Could it be that after he threw the bombs, a hand of cards can be thrown out at once? Just when sharp female teacher was in doubt, Yang Ming threw out a small 3. Sharp female teacher really met a master this time. She thought to herself, is this person held back by the 3? He threw a set of bombs just to throw out a 3? Isn't this too strong? You are too obvious. What did you throw out? Did you forget how to cheat? Wild female teacher was a little dissatisfied with the way Yang Ming threw out his cards. Yang Ming was speechless and smiled bitterly. He really hadn't cheated with Zhao Ying for a long time. Just now, in order to please Zhao Ying, he threw out the bomb in excitement after seeing Zhao Ying's words, which led to this result. Yang Ming thought for a while and typed on the screen, fuck, my hand trembled and I clicked on the wrong button. I clicked on the hint. Once he saw Yang Ming's explanation, sharp female teacher was suddenly happy. So that's why. I was shocked. I thought this guy had some big cards behind him. So it was a mistake. It seems that I met someone who didn't know how to play cards. That's good. I can take the opportunity to win more from him. After typing hee on the screen, sharp female teacher waited for wild female teacher to throw out her card. Zhao Ying sent Yang Ming a rolling eyes emoji. Originally, she could have thrown out her card directly after Yang Ming's card, but she was afraid that sharp female teacher would be suspicious, so she casually put in a card. Sharp female teacher threw out a 2 to block the card. Yang Ming didn't want it, so he passed. Zhao Ying threw out a set of 4 as. Sharp female teacher was stunned again. What does this mean? Could it be that wild female teacher also clicked on the wrong hand? Isn't this too exaggerated? Just as he was waiting for the next part of the game in shock, wild female teacher threw out all the cards in her hand. Sharp female teacher lost 4 times his points. Sharp female teacher was a little speechless. This time, she didn't make a mistake. She really had the confidence to throw out the cards. He lost so badly. However, it couldn't be helped. Who asked her to have such good cards? If there was anyone to blame, it was there's no true love in this world who threw out an extra set of, as a result, causing the points to double for no reason. However, since sharp female teacher lost, so be it. He didn't believe that such a strange thing would happen again in the second round, so he continued to draw. In the second round, Yang Ming and Zhao Ying still didn't bid. Sharp female teacher continued to bid. You have to be careful this time. Wild female teacher reminded Yang Ming in advance. Don't worry. I wasn't used to it just now, Yang Ming replied. In this round, although Yang Ming and Zhao Ying were still colluding with each other to cheat, it was very difficult for them to win. They didn't reveal anything, so sharp female teacher didn't suspect anything. In the end, he could only blame himself for losing because of bad luck. In the third round, as he was afraid that sharp female teacher would suspect something, Yang Ming called once. However, he still lost in the end. In the fourth round, Zhao Ying called and won by a narrow margin. This made sharp female teacher, who had just won against Yang Ming, lose again. Back and forth, although Zhao Ying and Yang Ming would lose, they didn't lose much. Sharp female teacher lost very badly. In the end, he couldn't take it anymore. He thought that his luck wasn't good, so he left the room. Therefore, Yang Ming and Zhao Ying waited for the second idiot to come. Needless to say, this world didn't lack idiots. Another idiot called Fishman X2 entered the room. The final result of this, Murloc X2, who had come with a threatening aura, could be imagined. After losing N points, he finally returned in low spirits. how is it? You've won enough today, right? Are you feeling better? Yang Ming saw that no one came, so he sent a private message to Zhao Ying. I'm fine. Oh yeah, how did you know that I'm in a bad mood? Wild female teacher threw out a question. Yang Ming was shocked. He looked at the chat history from before. Wild female teacher indeed didn't tell him that she was in a bad mood. He thought that she was Zhao Ying and knew that she was in a bad mood. That was why he asked that question. He didn't expect that he would almost be exposed. However, Yang Ming quickly explained, you didn't sleep well last night. You even asked me to accompany you to earn points early in the morning. I guess you must be in a bad mood again. Yang Ming deliberately added the word again. He meant that she was like this when she was in a bad mood in the past. That was why he came to such a conclusion. That's true. You know me quite well. Wild female teacher saw Yang Ming's explanation and didn't think much about it. Hee, that's right. We're good friends now. Of course, I know you well, said Yang Ming. We've known each other for more than half a year, right? Time flies. It's been so long in the blink of an eye. Wild female teacher said emotionally. Yeah, I guess we'll become an online relationship if this continues. Yang Ming tried to make a joke. Wild female teacher sent an ellipsis. She was obviously not interested in Yang Ming's joke. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Asked Yang Ming. Nothing. Let's not talk about this anymore. Wild female teacher was confused. When she saw Yang Ming's message, she thought about it carefully. Unknowingly, there's no true love in this world seemed to have integrated into her life. When he talked about online relationships, Zhao Ying suddenly realized that he was really her best male friend on the internet. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.